Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's new Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and my God, we have a show for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been tough to put these shows together because, quite frankly, there hasn't been a lot of news, and this week just flipped the switch. We went from a desert or barren desert to a complete cascade waterfall, both in Sony and Xbox news. Unfortunately, for one, it is not looking good. And of course, I'm talking about Sony, who I believe is on a decline, and not just in the media, not just in the hearts and minds of the hardcore, but the regular fans are now starting to question whether Sony is really for the players or more so for the payers. And we're going to break down exactly what I'm talking about. But of course, we got to turn this back around to Xbox, who seems to just continue to dominate the conversation. If it's not Starfield we're talking about, if it's not the new Halo season that's dropping next week. And again, I know that for some people it's a little not as stout as you would like, but we know that Certain Affinity is working on some stuff. So I would imagine that by the end of the year, we're all going to be playing Halo Infinite multiplayer, and we're going to be just loving it. But it's not just that. The financials have come in for Xbox, and my God, ladies and gentlemen, they have officially taken over the industry. And this comes the way of not only the big numbers for Microsoft, because we want to keep that conversation to Xbox because the numbers there are crazy. Welcome, BitCloud. How you feeling there, brother? Welcome.
Hey.
Glad to have you here. Right, we're gonna get into it momentarily, but not only are we going to be talking about Xbox and their numbers, we're going to be talking about 3 unannounced games that were put out there on the socials that we got some information on. Of course, we're gonna put all this together. We're gonna put an incredible show for you on your Friday. Start your Friday off, and of course, before we get into introductions, as we let people file in. If you didn't see on Twitter, and I really wanted to say this publicly because I know this show gets a decent amount of views, Mrs. Boomstick and I wanted to take the time to say a big thank you. And what are we thanking you for? Folks, the channel, Double Barrel Gaming, that had its first video drop on November 3rd of 2017, has officially surpassed 3 million active views. Which is incredible. Doing that kind of viewership on a channel that only has 10,000 subs, and on our way to hopefully by the end of the year 12,000 in 4 years is incredible. And we could not be here and have gotten here not only through the people that have subscribed, but the people that tune in each and every week, even if you're not subscribed, and more importantly, the incredible amount of community members that I work with on a weekly basis on these panels. Every gentleman that you see here on the panel are a part of this journey. Everyone you see on Primetime Gaming, everyone you see on the Xbox Factor podcast, and every guest I've had in between all of those shows are the reason why we were able to get to 3 million plus views. So a big thank you from us, and we are just getting started, folks. Again, we know this is what we do, and we know that people are enjoying it, and we hope that you are going to continue to stay with the channel. And if you are new, if you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing, because like I said, we hit 10K in early January, live on the air, as a matter of fact, on the Iron Lords podcast. And big thank you to them, because I've seen a tremendous amount of success because of being on that show. And of course, we want to close out the year with 12K. That's the goal, and we're getting close. We're just a little under 1,500 away. And like I said, if you're enjoying the content, hit the like button, and of course, subscribe to the channel. But let's get into the introductions. Now, we lost Dreadpool. I don't know why, but we'll get him back momentarily. Let's start with someone that is joining the panel for the first time. We are thrilled to have him on this panel each and every week moving forward. He's been on numerous times, both on Primetime Gaming and the Xbox Factor podcast, and even this show, Breakfast with Boom. John Wolf, welcome to the panel, brother.
Good morning, Boom panel and everyone listening. Boom, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to guest on this panel and to be a guest going forward. I really appreciate that, and big shout out to Crispy Bomb who actually kind of recommended me. I appreciate it, Crispy, if you're listening, man. And yeah, guys, I'm looking forward to the chat going that we're gonna have today and going forward. Boom, congratulations on 3 million views, brother. And let me just tell you something, all right? When back 2 years ago, right before the release of the Series X, I found your channel. I had no idea, Boom. I was completely out of the games media, listening to anything because of, we kind of know how that turned out in 2013, that it was just bashing on Xbox became the thing to do. And I kind of removed myself from that conversation because while I always appreciate a good conversation when, when things are being criticized in a good light, I also appreciate positivity. And that's something, Boom, that I have to say you more than anyone in the
Thank you, sir.
community puts out. And that positive, you can give a message, but it can be a positive one. And I really do appreciate that about you, Boom. So thank you. And I look forward to the conversation today and going forward.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you for the compliments. And more importantly, thank you for joining the panel. We can't wait to hear what you have to say starting today, moving forward. We can't wait for that. Dreadpool, you dropped out. You're back, brother. You were the first one here. In fact, you're always the first one here. 2 questions of the day. How the hell are you? And more importantly, what have you had for breakfast?
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. I literally just had a power fluctuation and everything just crashed
Oh,
and
I
turned
figured it was
off.
something like that because you
Yeah,
literally just snapped out of. I thought the Infinity Gauntlet had snapped and you just turned to dust.
it felt like it.
You got blipped.
So, yes, good morning, everyone. I had some waffles today and, I didn't do the fruit part. I just did the syrup. So I just kept my sweetness on the basic level and a little bit of coffee.
Nice.
So,
Listen, sometimes a little simplicity goes a long way, and
yeah.
there you
I
go.
can't have lunch every single time or dinner every single time for breakfast for you guys. Sometimes I gotta have it like normal.
Sometimes you gotta
breakfast.
just be boring. Like I was boring this morning. I had a cinnamon raisin bagel with cream cheese and a coffee. That's
But
it. Nice.
that's
and
why
boring.
you're in better shape than I am.
No, I do my snacking in the evenings, but it's only baked stuff, folks. That's right. I'm trying to listen. You cross 50, very hard to lose weight. I'm 212 pounds. This is probably the lowest weight I've been in 20 years. But listen, enough of that shenanigans. Let's get into the gaming, and we got to welcome back here BitCloud Gaming. You got something that I know about that we can't talk about just yet, but I got to tell you, it's massive, and it only equates to what you've been up to in recent years for your channel, and the time you've spent with IGN, and all the different things happening to you. Well, absolutely deserved. I can't wait for you to share it with the world. But welcome back to the program, brother.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like 30 minutes. So I was like, you know what? This 30 minutes, why not let Boom spread the word for a little bit? You want to break it? I'll let you break the news if you want to break it.
No.
Nice.
You know what? I would much rather you break it because it is big, and you were awesome enough to tell me, folks. Listen, this is massive.
I'll tell you a hint to everybody in here. I'll give you a hint. It's a legend.
Yep.
Boom, no, it's a legend associated with PlayStation.
I know who it is, but only because I listened to the Solid Cast.
He knows who it is. Since the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
This awesome guy has been with PlayStation. That's what it is. That's your hint.
That's your hint. And folks, all I'm going to say is you're not going to want to miss it. This is probably as big as you could possibly get. If you're going to take the time to interview industry people, and you have an opportunity to interview a legend of this status, it is career changing. For sure.
Congrats, BitCloud.
Yeah, it's well deserved. It's well earned. You put the work in, and cannot thank you enough for sharing that with me, because obviously that's private news, and again, a lot of the people here we talk on the cell outside of talking on podcasts. So we'll be tuning in.
This dude fell out of his chair when I told him.
Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous. It's the biggest I've ever. I mean, I haven't interviewed him with that big, and again, it's well deserved. But welcome back to the program.
Saying Sean. It's not Sean. By the way, it's not Sean Layden.
Yeah, that's who I picked first.
There's your other hit.
First. I love Sean. I love Sean Layden. I know that he said some things recently that make you scratch your head about the Game Pass thing, but I still love Sean because of who he is. He's just a rah kind of a guy, and that's what I miss about the place. That's what I miss about PlayStation.
Yeah, we miss those crazy antics and crazy more personality that we had.
Absolutely more personality. But we're gonna get into PlayStation. I know you have some stuff to say. That's a little critical, very much like myself. That's again, it's one of those things that it's a bit of a head scratcher when it comes to what are you doing? Jim, I love you. I appreciate you're a smart businessman, but this ain't cool. But we're going to get into that momentarily. Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, welcome back to the program. This is some brand new Forza footage. I'm sure you're appreciating it. I think I'm up to a level 116 right now, which is probably not that high for a lot of people. I'm sure people. I saw someone in my timeline that was 243. I'm like, holy shit, that's double my score. So, but welcome, brother. How you feeling?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. And man, this has been it went from like crickets as far as gaming news to a flood of news all at once.
Dude.
But just want to say welcome, John. Welcome to the panel. And Big Cloud, man, awesome. Congrats, man. I'm looking forward to this interview come Monday.
Yeah, man.
You won't be disappointed, I promise.
No.
But man, it's great to be here with everyone in the chat, man. This is going to be a great show. We got a lot to discuss, so let's get to it.
We have three topics. I don't necessarily know if we're going to get to all three because both the PlayStation and the Xbox topics are massive. So let's get to that. And of course, rounding us out, who just recently joined the panel and has been doing great work in the community. There he is, Mr. Web Dave, brother. How are you, man? Welcome.
I'm good, man. Thank you, Boom. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Boom.
Thank you, sir.
That is so awesome and well-deserved. And my God, it's just going to keep growing from there.
Yeah, I hope so. From your mouth to the gaming god's ears. Let's hope.
Well, that's usually how it works. That's usually when I speak, But anyway, and also welcome John. Welcome, John, and BitCloud. It's so good to have you on today, man. These topics are just so hot and fired up, and let's get into it. I'm ready.
Yeah, you know what? Let's start with SIE PlayStation. Now, look.
I got like 30 minutes.
We'll go to you first because I know you're on limited time, so we'll get you in and out. But listen, Sony PlayStation, they have sold over 15 million units. There's no denying that is fantastic.
Yeah.
There's no denying that their launch lineup was phenomenal. And there's no denying that their controller, even though the battery doesn't last as long, is a phenomenal controller. I absolutely love it, especially when you play Astrobot. It's one of the first titles I platinumed on the PlayStation 5, and I loved that game. I love the character because I'm an OG, right? Like I like platformers, so I know that they're going to do more things with that character. So I'm very excited. But that's not what we're here to talk about. See, it's not Sony's success that's a problem. It's the constant recent failures that continue to plague this generation for them. And one of the things that came out this week, and I had two really big pieces of bad news, is that it was reported by Kotaku that SIE PlayStation is quote unquote requiring, which could be, some people could use the word forcing, any title over $34 must have a demo ready for PlayStation Plus Premium members. Now, if you are someone that is going to get PlayStation Premium Plus, then you're like, this is great because I'm going to get something for my $18 a month in these 2-hour demos. But if you are on the other side of the fence putting out the content, what seems to be very fuzzy, and I hate to say this, very PlayStation-like in recent years, is that they don't give you the whole picture on what's happening to the development side. And Kotaku reached out to PlayStation SIE or SIE PlayStation, and they didn't give a comment. So right now, we're just going to have to go to speculation town and wonder what's going on. Now, anyone that's ever developed a game, and I can't speak on that because I just run a podcast, I've never been in development, knows that resources, people that make these games that are considered resources are valuable. And making a demo isn't as simple as just slicing, cutting, and pasting and putting out there. That's not the way development works, folks. It takes time, it takes effort, but more importantly, it takes money. And money that apparently Sony is not going to be paying these developers for this extra development time. At least that is what is being reported. Now, could that change? 100%. But I can't speak on that because Sony isn't talking. Again, when you factor this, okay, the second part of the bad news for Sony this week comes the way of something that is commonplace for Xbox. I'm not talking about smart delivery. I'm not talking about backwards compatibility with upgraded graphics or increased frame rate. No, the most simplistic aspect of Xbox Game Pass. One of the most exciting things about Xbox Game Pass is the fact that if you find a sale and you can get normally it's $45, right? $44.95 or $44.99 for 3 months, which is $15 a month. But occasionally they do have sales. And during Black Friday, Amazon had them for $25 versus $40. So you're saving $20. So Mrs. Boomstick and I, what did we do? We bought three years worth, or up to the 3-year max, which is what they allow to stack, right? To stack it up. Well, there's a new report that comes out of social media, which is where we find a lot of these stories, that Sony has blocked the ability to stack the PlayStation Plus, and you can only do a year, which tells me that they are not for the players when you do that. Because a lot of the times what I've done, and this is not illegal, I go to cdkeys.com and I see that they have the PlayStation Plus subscription for $33. So I buy 2. I spend $66, and there you go. 2 years paid up for. I'm paid up until 2024 right now. Right now, I'm paid up to 2024, and I'm okay with that. But not allowing your fan base, your customers, to do something to save a buck or two is disgraceful. And why it's frustrating, folks. All you have to do is take a trip to the grocery store or your local gas station and see how expensive it is right now to live. For the commonplace things like cream cheese or gas or vegetables, anything that you have to buy has been upped. Cereal that was normally $2.69 a box in Stop and Shop where I go is now almost $6. Now, normally you're like, yeah, whatever. But you know what? When you compound that to a whole shopping that should cost you $40, it's not costing you $140. So as gamers, gaming is a hobby. Gaming isn't your lifeblood. You could live without gaming, but why should you? If your only vice, for me, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I've never done drugs. It's just not my bag. But I love video games, I love toys, I love collectibles, I like comics. That's my vice. And if I had to cut some of those things out, I would. But gaming is something I don't think I could live without. It's my lifeblood personally because it gives me so much entertainment. And Microsoft knows that. And Microsoft goes out of their way to give back to their customers by allowing us to stack and get our money's worth. Sony, well, they're not doing that. So let's bring BitCloud right into this. Look, BitCloud, the bottom line is this: no one's dumping on Sony, but this is back-to-back bad news. And like I said, if you take into account, and I saw this posted on social media, $70 games, charging developers for crossplay, charging $10 for cross-gen upgrades, and demos behind a paywall. This is not a good look. Please give us your opinion from someone that represents the PlayStation brand in the most proper way.
So we've had this conversation multiple times about Sony's inability to be transparent with the community. A lot of people say, being transparent can be a weakness or a little too much. I disagree. Now, Microsoft just revealed that we have an Xbox showcase they're about to get. There hasn't been no information for God of War, nothing like that whatsoever. So to get hit with this on top of everybody still having this idea that God of War is probably more likely pushed back, is not looking good whatsoever. Now, to go towards the whole thing of them, let's just start with the whole practice, right? Because I've seen so many people flip-flop to this. I've seen so many people make excuses for this and redefine what the word value means. Because back then, guess what? Demos, we didn't pay a dime for.
No.
Demos were a public service to us. It was kind of like a try before you what? Buy. A true try before you buy to get you in the game. Now, there are benefits and there are drawbacks to having demos. A demo can make or break a game depending on how bad that demo is. If the demo is showing the game in the worst degree possible, you know what I mean? And you're not really like, you know, the combat's not what was advertised, and guess what? That can hurt the sales of the game. And I'm looking at this, I'm seeing everybody going, yeah, you know, it's not Sony's I can't let I heard this. It's like it's not Sony's you know, well, it's really not on Sony to charge or to pay for this, that, and the third. No, we have to pay for it because we're buying. It's like, no, it's not. It doesn't work like that. Demos have always been free. It's always been like a public thing, and it should never be something behind a payroll. When I saw this, I was sitting there going, okay, so how is this going to work? Because number one, this is extra time for the developer to make these demos and set them for PlayStation. And also keep in mind, this could also affect launch dates and push games back. Especially we're talking about third-party games. This can affect everything. So you have to ask yourself, is it really worth the price you're asking for? $120 a year? No, I would say absolutely not. There's really no true incentive. You're paying for something that was absolutely free.
Yeah.
And a common practice back then, we used to get the little, y'all remember the little CD cases where it had like all the games on there?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and they're like 2-hour demos. But then all of a sudden, dudes like going, but these are different. They're not like demos. A trial is essentially a demo.
Yeah.
It's essentially
pretty
demo.
much. Same thing, just different name.
Yeah. Even if you see trophies pop, you don't get the trophies. You don't get the achievements. It's all locked. You get nothing. So I don't know where people get this energy like, oh, well, you know, I'm still doing this, that, and third. A demo you can play over and over and over. A trial you only can play once. Think about that for a second. You only play it once.
Yeah.
Game Pass is giving you everything under the sun, including trials, and guess what? And demos, right? Guess what? No extra costs.
No. It's just baked into the $15 that you pay.
Yeah, no extra costs. So again, what am I paying for? You have to ask yourself, what am I paying for?
You know what's interesting? You know, you brought up a really, really interesting point and worthy of a conversation. I want to get your opinion on this. You know, when you say $120 a year, like, see, that's something that I would pay. I would be like, yeah, you know what, just get it out of the way. But most gamers are not going to do it that way because money, you know, $120 is for some people. That's someone's utility bill. They may not have the money. So they'll go with the $18 a month. And if they do, it's even worse.
You know what killed me? And Game Plateau made up a good point here. Y'all remember the narrative of support the developer?
Support the devs, yes.
What happened to that narrative? I thought we were supporting the developer. I thought $70 games were fine. I thought subscription services were bad. And yet here we are hyping up this. And guess what? These developers that you quote unquote care about, they're not getting paid for it, supposedly.
Yeah, again,
we support developer. Again, that's been confirmed. But again, so far the public, and this was Sony's fault because the public perception is you're not paying your people. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I say they have to be more transparent and stuff like this. Moments like this, like even with the basics of what you're getting for the premium, you know, PlayStation Plus. Something as simple as Crunchyroll. Remember Crunchyroll that was going around? That's not even incorporated with this. So again, what exactly?
And you know, it's funny. We thought that Funimation and Crunchyroll were going to be baked into it. Like we honestly, you and I, we had this conversation. We were like, oh no, that's going to be a part of it. Then it might be not as bad.
Yeah. I think we expected too much from Sony is a problem there.
Yeah,
that's the real issue.
Yeah. I mean, when you see again, I get, you're right on that, because they have a community where they've basically almost, well, I don't even say they trained them, right? Because a lot of people are not bugging, like a lot are not biting onto this, right? But they got a lot of people who believe paying 70 is the right way. You know what I mean? They have a lot of people who justify paying 70. Legit have no problem with 70, full price.
You know what? we are very blessed today, ladies and gentlemen. Besides being
David,
not just having BitCloud, because obviously he's been busy, folks. Obviously he comes when he can be here, and he's got to bounce in a little bit because he's got some big things happening, and we love that. Mr. King David, you rolled in here in the nick of time, sir. We are talking about Sony. You are already laughing. We will get your opinion momentarily. How are we feeling, King?
You're muted, bro.
You're muted.
Oh, you're muted. We can't. Oh,
you're muted. Can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted.
That's not ASL.
Let me check out his. Okay, yeah. So he's good here. Wait, hold on a second. Let me just. King David, we can't hear you, brother.
We can't hear you. He's probably trolling. Hold up. He's probably trolling. Let me go to the chat. This man, right?
Let me text him. Hey, you know what? That's
there. Yeah, I heard something.
There we go.
You heard something? No, not really.
Like, what are you doing? Silent?
No, I'm telling you, relax. I'm fixing it, and you guys is like, we can't hear you, and I'm like, okay, relax.
Well, listen, King, it's a real pleasure to have you. I know that you kind of definitely took some red lights to get here, because folks, if you don't know, he's a busy man also, and we are really thrilled to have you here today. We got two monster topics we're going to get into. I'm not sure how. I actually didn't even realize you were there, because I'm just trying to message people in the chat. But
no, I jumped in, I jumped out. Now, see, the mess up thing is I don't hear myself, so I have to go in there and I have to fix everything. But I haven't been here for a week and some change. I haven't turned my PC on because I was at PAX.
Right. So doing you guys did great coverage there, by the way. You missed out on their coverage, man. Definitely get over to ILP, lordsofgaming.net. Their coverage was phenomenal.
My team, personally, we hit 50 games, and those uploads should be up with interviews and stuff like that. And the A team, they were doing the big fish game hunting as far as bigger devs and stuff like that. So we separate in groups and we work that way. And 108 Dragons was out there with us. A lot of the writers from lordsofgaming.net, like Gene and stuff, was there. So it was very productive, to be honest with you. Very productive.
Yeah, no, you guys did great stuff as always.
Let me ask King this. Did he see a certain tweet from yours truly?
About what? No,
a massive surprise.
I didn't see anything, to be honest with you. I've been like Twitter dark, so except for my little mental rants, like with Game Pass and stuff like that. So I'm just like getting back, and anybody knows that runs a business or has to take care of a house or stuff like that. You have to go do your checks. You have to go through everything. You have to make sure that everybody was accounted for. So I'm just like really getting up to speed. So when Boom hit me last night and was like, "Can you be on the show?" I'm like, I'm trying my best, 100%. So I got here. I walked the dog, made sure she did everything. So
good to see you as always, though.
I heard a little bit of what you guys were saying. I caught a gist of it. Okay, so as far as the $18 a month, you're going to get a lot of that. And what Sony did, and I did the breakdown before, and I explained to people exactly how much this service actually really costs. So anybody that has a calculator, you can take it out, right? So you put $18, right, times 12 months, right? And that comes up to $216, right? So you think the savings is the $90, right? So you say $216. Now, if a smart guy, if you have the cash on hand, guy or girl, gamer, smart gamer, has the cash on hand, they take the $120, right? To take the $120, and you minus that out of the $216, right? All right, so $216, and you're left with $96, right? And you think that's the savings. As we all know, Sony is not trying to save anything, not trying to give you back anything. They're trying to make all the money that they possibly can.
Yep.
So I want you to take that $96, right? And 96 divided by, what was my division? Divided by 12 is $8. The service is actually worth $8. Okay. And what Sony is actually banking on is individuals doing the $18. That's 2.5 people that they're paying for when they do that over that period of time. Sony is not taking a loss at all on this service at all.
No.
So it's actually worth it's $8. Microsoft doesn't give you any deals in Game Pass, to be honest with you, because if you buy it for the month or you buy it for the years, it's just a flat out price. There's no discounted rate that you get, because that's where you find the lie, right? So when they're telling you they're cutting their teeth at it, they're cutting their teeth at Game Pass. And you can see the service speaks for itself. It's a premium service. Now, I want y'all to look at that $8 service and look at it for exactly what it's offering you, and it's worth $8.
Yeah, I would agree with. I 100% agree with that. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is exactly what they're doing, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. They're giving you options now that they're getting up to speed. What we're upset with, and I heard Funimation, I heard Crunchyroll, and just like my man Wolf said, we expected too much, right? We expected too much.
Exactly.
Yes, we expected date and date. We expected somebody to compete, and Jason Schrier and all these guys told you that it's not a competition service; it's their service, and you can tell that they're not trying to compete. They're just trying to put out a service to say that we do have a service, so they can explore the options going forward as far as transitioning.
And King, it's also a service for the misinformed. Don't forget that.
Yes, absolutely. If you're not informed, you don't know what's going on. It's easy to get roped in. Now, to be honest with you, I'm going to pay the $120. You know, and it has absolutely, and it's just really for my son. It has absolutely nothing to do that I see value here. I'm betting on the future.
Yeah,
I'm betting on them taking such a huge loss to the direct competitor that they are forced to put certain things inside this package. Because remember, guys, when Game Pass first came out, it wasn't as robust as it is now.
It was very bare bones and stuff that we all played. Yeah, very bare bones.
Yep.
So expect the same things. There's growing pains with everything. Is it a bad service? Only time will tell once it launches.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the streaming stuff, that's where you can find out if it's a bad service. Because if you can't get into your games and stuff is always down, or the streaming service has a lot of lag and stuff in it, then it's a bad service.
Right.
But if you go to stream your PS3 games and they actually stream really good and they look really decent and it plays well, and all the stuff that they do say is there, and the trials do kind of work out in their favor, it's something to get by until they can get their heavy hitters into the service. So I just think, time to tell exactly if it's really poor, but price to value, yes, it's worth $8. If anybody does have the $120 to pony up, do so. I wouldn't recommend the $18 a month, because I think at that point in time, you're paying for you, yourself, your friend, and half another person, so it's not worth it.
Did you hear what they are doing with the membership? Like, you can't lap your membership to get into it. Yeah, that right there, they cut that off.
You knew Sony was going to do that anyway.
Yeah, true. But it's
anytime a game is going to go on sale, remember it was one of the directed cuts.
It was Horizon. They removed the PS4 one day, or they made it. No, it was the PS4 because they removed it from the PlayStation. But you had to go on the website.
Or the app. I downloaded mine from the app. I couldn't find it in the store, which is pretty crummy. Yeah,
and that's the issue. We act like we don't see the spots on the Reprt. We act like it's going to change. It's the same Reprt. It's the same spots. It's doing the same tactics. Anybody that did happen to get their subscriptions early, God bless to you. But everybody else, it stopped. It's over with, and you're going to pay.
Yeah, they blocked it.
Pay an additional 60. Or 40. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, listen, Bit, I don't know how much time you got left here, brother, but we want to thank you for hanging out.
Oh yeah, man, it was always
man,
fun.
I lose Bit.
He only had half an hour today. He's got something going on in the background.
Yeah, once you text him the news.
I will text him the news because King will be very thrilled to know that you got that big of a get. That's
I'll text you on Twitter. I'll text you.
Right,
literally after this because Monday we make history, King.
Dude, 100%. It's the biggest thing I've seen any of our inner circle do, and I'm very proud to have known that and proud of it. So
I appreciate you always for all the advice. Even on IOP, you always been there for support. And when I tell you I lay like a brother, let's talk. I appreciate you.
Yep. All right, brother. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you. We'll see you Monday.
Oh, of course. Congrats on 300 or 3 million.
Thank you, brother.
3 million. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Big Cloud everywhere. Y'all be good. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be easy. And I will see you guys later.
Yeah,
take care, brother.
Right, take care. Man. Congrats again.
Thank you,
King. I do want to grab your opinion on this. We just talked about the $18 service. We all agree that it's not worth it. That's a fact. And one of the things I want to bring up is when you talk about and when you add to the conversation that we opened up this with, there is a publisher on the decline, which is Sony, and there is a publisher marching towards greatness in a way that we've never seen before, and that's Microsoft. That's a fact. This generation for Sony, in regards to public persona and the way that they handle themselves, in social media, has not been good. It's been quite frankly terrible. And now you factor in that they're charging $18 for a service that's worth $8. They are now blocking people from stacking, something that Microsoft encourages. Hey, listen, it's on sale. Go stack it up for 3 years. You're good. That's what we did. That's what you did. That's what I did this year. But you compound these two recent showings from Sony in 1 week on top of $70 games, charging for cross-gen upgrades. You have to pay the $10. Charging developers for cross-play. And more importantly, now demos behind a paywall, something that we used to get for free. I don't know what's happening with Jim Ryan. There are a lot of people in the community, including myself, that have discussed this openly that feel like Jim is not really in charge, that he is being controlled by the higher ups in the Sony, in Sony Japan.
Puppet Joe.
I want to get your opinion on that.
Okay. The reason why people will feel that way is because what Jim does is he makes money, right? He doesn't care for the little guy on the totem pole, which is us. We're at the low end. We're the consumer, right? We get exactly what they put out, and we have to like it and be good with it. Jim has made a lot of moves that rub a lot of the Sony hardcore the wrong way. Getting rid of Japan, consolidating Europe, but all that is cost effective and is bringing in boatloads of money to Sony, where before they were operating at margin, they actually have money to do acquisitions. Right. They weren't making these acquisitions in the past. Remember, it was organic growth. And all this other crap that, people brought into while they're looking. They're telling you organic growth while they're actually looking to acquire some studios. So that money wouldn't have been there if Jim didn't operate in the manner that he does, if he wasn't as shrewd as he is. And he elevated to that point. Now, I do say this. People saying that Sony is on the decline, and they are operating in a manner that is unfamiliar. Well, a lot of roles have been switched. A lot of people are no longer in their positions, and you have other people learning these new positions, and they're trying to manage stuff. And this is a whole new generation. I tell people going into a new generation is a new slate with a new plan, and you get a chance to implement these things. So Microsoft on the rise, we're seeing these plans that were set in place in the dismal era of the Xbox One.
Going all the way back to 2018, King.
Yes, something right before then. You would probably say that because the development cycle of the console was left to be in question. So that stuff is from 2015 and dragged all the way through until Phil got in charge and he had to right a whole bunch of wrongs. But again, it's about PlayStation at the moment. And is Mr. Jim Ryan a puppet of the board? I believe he listens to the people that gives him his paycheck. Yeah. I believe that he values the opinion of the people that keep him in the position that he's in. I believe that he also feels that the better he does by them will extend the longevity of his position. So anybody out there questioning is Jim a puppet? You listen to your boss when you go to work, right? And you do your work in a manner that is conducive for your longevity in your position. So I view it in that eyes. I think he does a great job as far as bringing PlayStation to the masses. People may not like what he's done, but he's brought PlayStation to the PC. He's bringing a streaming system, and they're talking about games as a service. These are three things that PlayStation hasn't done, and under anybody else's regime, they have consolidated, they have upgraded, they have went out and purchased different studios, and they're setting themselves up for the future. So I have absolutely no idea what a lot of people are thinking when they see the PlayStation. Maybe they're not moving at their cadence. Maybe they want the one and dones, and they want that's not sustainable in the society that we live in. They have the right person in charge. Jim is doing a phenomenal job. The PlayStation 4 was the most successful PlayStation, period. Yeah. And this PlayStation 5 is on pace to do the same thing, replicate it in a manner that is equal. If supplies are there, I believe people will get them, and I believe they can replicate the same process. Will the games be the same? No, they'll be different. But I can tell you this, dollar to donuts, Jim is going to make more money in PlayStation history than any CEO that was ahead of PlayStation, bar none. And if y'all want him out of there, think about the times that PlayStation 3. Think about that. That guy took the dead system, brought it to life with the 4, and continue to do so with the 5. So no, I stand right behind Jim. I think Jim is doing a hell of a job. I joke, but he's not a puppet. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do in the position that he's at.
Okay, strong points. Let's bring in Dreadpool on the conversation. Bad news for Sony this week, and the decline continues. Like I said, we can't take away from the fact that they sold 15 million PS5 so far, but you also have to factor in they can't get those out the door. They are struggling to make them available for consumers. On top of that, we have this new news this week that they are forcing or requiring. Let me just change the wording. Developers to make 2-hour demos. And also, on the back end of that conversation, they have officially blocked the consumer's ability to stack, which for their new service launching in June. Is this a continued bad look for SIE PlayStation, Dreadpool?
Hello.
Uh-oh. I don't know if you muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
All right. I'm sorry. I literally just got back. Somebody was at the door.
Okay.
I caught the last half of your question.
Okay. So do you need me to read it again, or
if you could just repeat what you were asking.
No, the decline of PlayStation is evident, right? There's no denying that they're in a slump. Again, they did sell 15 million units, but unfortunately, they can't get more out the door to the consumer. And on top of that bad news, they are now charging a lot of money for their subscription service that launches in June. But go back to the bad news this week, they have now blocked stacking, and they're making forcing developers to make 2-hour demos. Is this a continued bad look for Sony?
Oh, yes, definitely. This goes back to what I was saying a couple months ago, deceptive practices, right? They led you to believe that everything's going to be just hunky-dory, and here they are making sure that the presents that you bought or received from these gift cards to be able to have it is now no longer good. It's invalid. So they basically stole money from you until you can validate it. So why would you do something like that? I understand, just leave it as it is. Don't change it, and just say, look, going forward, this is what's going on, but don't take it away, the ability away, because, How many of us buy the stuff when it's on sale somewhere?
Yep, a lot of us do.
And just stack them up?
The stacking aspect is something that Microsoft encourages.
Yeah, and then on top of that, with the game demos, I did see. I don't know if it's a fact or a rumor, but I'm keeping it in mind. They did. I guess they promoted two gentlemen to head the demo section, and they were going to be working on the demo. So that way, the developer makes no sense as to how they're doing this, unless they're going to be doing something like, and this is what I suggested before, like EA does, where you have a 10-hour window to play this game, but you get nothing out of it, no achievements, no earnings, other than just being able to play that game for a certain amount of time. And then if you buy it, then they hit. But other than that, that's the only thing I could see, because why would somebody outside of the game developer have to do this? I mean, didn't they say before? I don't know how many years do they have to pull people out of development of the actual game to set them aside to rebuild that code so they can show you something for EA or show you something for this the games, what was it, Gamescom? So when they're doing that, they're pulling people away from their development of the game.
Yep.
So to do something like that, and you get the demo within 30 days of the game's release, not before.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't we have something back in the day called shareware? Yep. Where you got to play the game to a certain point, and then you could either pay for it, but you could pass it around to everybody. That's where game demos came from, was from all this stuff. It was never paid for. So when they're doing stuff like this, it's hindering the industry. It's not really pushing the industry forward. It's not coming up with something creative, other than putting money in your bank in a different way. King David broke it down for you, with the numbers, and we said it before. How many times do people fail when they're in the know? And this is for the people that don't know, and they fall for this stuff. They fall for this because, oh yeah, we get demos, but you have to have the highest tier.
Yep.
It's not even a real demo, or is it, or what? But you don't get it till after the game's released. So
is it a time demo? Is it after 2 hours? Can you play it? We don't know because they're not talking.
Is it a one-time thing like Resident Evil did with their demos? Or their trial, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
it's just there's so much out there that's deceptive and questionable that you kind of have to wonder why. And it seems like, I don't know, the goalpost movers are still moving goalposts to the fact that they got so used to it that Sony not only brainwashed them, they brainwashed themselves into believing this is still going to happen and they're still going to push us. But now look, and this is the thing. As gamers, we stood up against Xbox for some idiot jumping up the price, right? And that person more than likely is guaranteed fired. You know what I mean? Demoted, whatever. But more than likely, he was fired because that could have brought him back down to 2013.
Yeah.
You know what 100%. I mean? So doing something like that is not a good look. And they squashed it because we all stood up as gamers and stood our ground. And yet again, we're starting to see some of these goalpost movers doing the same thing. Like, wait a second, we're promoting pushing this and pushing that. We'll pay the extra money for the devs, but who's paying the extra money for the devs to create? If the devs are doing it, which would be a safe bet, right? To create a demo that you have to pay a higher tier to get into to be able to play it.
To just argue that point, again, a lot of this stuff is speculation, is not a concrete.
Correct.
The day that Microsoft did announce that whole debacle, and the reason why it was repealed, because it was announced by them, right? And, they saw what happened on Twitter and what happened in whatever spaces, and all types of news channels negatively reacted to it. And in a 24-hour, they repealed it. They got rid of that, and they said, we apologize. We saw our mistake. But that comes from them trying to clean themselves. Remember, they had mud all over themselves, and they just put on the clean outfit, and they got some mud on their shoes. Like, hold on, let me clean that off.
Yeah.
Whereas Sony has always been the pristine All right. And this is really a first that they're getting this backlash. But again, none of this stuff, we don't have it in the wild for it, right? So a lot of people are going speculating with the words because we know what type of practices that they do use and stuff that they are doing. You are spot on with developers taking time out to make demos and to do trials. Now, if the trials come from the actual part of the game that is partitioned off, that's good, because then that allows the game to still breathe without them taking time out from the game. And that's fantastic. We expect better, higher tier. We expect the higher tier.
Well, it's called premium for a reason, King. So when you say the word premium, you're expecting the upper echelon.
Yeah, so I'm with you on it. I just think the companies are in two different spaces, whereas one throws information out there with ambiguity and looks back and sees exactly what happens, and they're making calculated moves off of responses.
Yeah, it's more than that, King. It's that the problem is that Sony's caught with their pants down. I'm going to tell you why right now. I'm going to tell you why right now, because they are trying to pull a juggling act for everyone. They're trying to juggle.
This is the banana in the tailpipe situation.
Yeah. They're trying to juggle between telling its consumer base that they are a premium service while they have this monster Xbox behind them catching up slowly, day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. And now they knew that they had to pivot and say, we need to kind of offer a service that appears to be like Game Pass to kind of stop that momentum, because Xbox is gaining so much momentum on us. So they're in a juggling act right now. They're trying to come off as this premium brand, but at the same time, they also want to be the value brand. So it's a juggling act.
See, the problem is Sony's used to being the ones to pivot and be the good guys, because they're able to push, and anything that anybody else does, they're able to counteract it, right? So they're able to pivot from that spot, even though they were going the same direction. Remember 2013? They were both going the same direction. Take out the camera, drop it down $100, and they're the heroes. Oh, remember that commercial? This is how we share our game. Okay.
Yep.
So Xbox has already got the foot out the door. Why isn't Sony doing what Sony does best and throw mud in their face and go, this is what we offer. This is what we want to do for you. This is what we're going to do. They're not doing that.
Because they woke the sleeping giant, and their arrogance has once again come full forward.
It's kind of like that, but it's the fact that,
they believe their own brainwashing.
Losing myself?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, the whole deck went out. Hold on.
We can hear you, though.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's saying to go on.
So
continue, Dredd.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is they're believing their own brainwashing that they've put onto people and getting away with it.
Because you can't hear me, right?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
We can hear you.
No,
can you see my head shake? Yes and no. Yes.
That's exactly what happens when you haven't been on your PC forever. My deck just went out. It was just like, bye. So, and I'm looking at it, I'm panicking like hell. I'm glad it's happening now. And I'm sorry. You're coming from a different aspect when it comes financially, right? Sony's not going to lose any money. Microsoft can throw tons of money inside Game Pass because Microsoft is backing Xbox now, right? Whereas Sony doesn't have carte blanche to do so. Sony's in a position right now where they have to make money off of this service, and they have to do it in a manner that is cost effective for the company. That's why they are two different approaches. Yeah, it's a premium tier for those people that's looking for that stuff, that expect certain stuff. We don't know exactly what's going to be there. We have to see what happens when it launches, and that's when the uproar is really going to start, because if they don't have certain games, then it's going to get nuts. But again, you look at the value proposition of Game Pass, and everybody says it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It grew to this part where it's fantastic, right? And the deals that they're making in the background, Sarah Bond has went out and made tons of deals, and got tons of games in there. When you have stuff like MLB The Show in there, 2K22,
you got the new tennis game announced for July. Yeah. There's dude.
Yeah, but the thing, David, you know why? If you're going to go into it and compete, right? They said that this they don't see it being profitable. There's no money in this. So then why half-ass it? Why go in and not put your best foot forward?
But they're making
I understand.
money.
I get that. But if they want money, they want good, I don't know, a good image. And this is not a good image for them. This is a bad image. Right?
I see, you're right and you're wrong. Do they really care about their image?
No, obviously not. That's the point. That's the point. They don't care because the goalpost movers will move it for them.
Well, remember the PS3, they didn't really care about the image when they told people, "Oh, you want this console and get a second job." I mean,
well, they did care. That's why they offered you to get a second job.
Well,
Dredd wanted you to have money.
Dredd, I'll put it to you like this, Dredd, right? Because I mean, what's really changed about Sony, if you really think about it, right? Trophies weren't important until achievements were important. You know, online gaming wasn't important until online gaming was introduced by Xbox. So again, it's just typical in typical Sony fashion, following and improvising on what has come before it, and then there's no doubt in my mind right now. I'm putting this on record today. Day and date's coming to PS Plus. It could be in 3 years, 5 years. I don't know. It's coming, guys. It could be less than that. It's coming because they that's it. By them shifting the focus and now launching this type of service, they threw in the flag. They know that Game Pass is a success and that it is the future of gaming, whether people like to hear that or not. It's not about your feelings, people. It's about the facts. That is the future of gaming. That is how the majority of gamers are going to consume their gaming going forward, and PlayStation knows that, and they needed to launch this Dreadpool.
Absolutely, 100%.
Well, we need them to be the old Sony, where they, did they half step here and there? Yeah, but they're the same Sony that helped, not totally all them. Sega did it themselves, but they helped Sega out of the console business, right? They fought Nintendo head on, right? So where is that Sony? They're not fighting, right?
It's they are fighting, but okay. What
under
Jim
new
sees,
management.
what Jim sees is the exit strategy. Jim sees how he can save the most money. Now walk with me here. Y'all never would have thought Sony of Japan would have been shuttered. All those wonderful studios in Europe, you never thought that he would break them down and consolidate them and fold them into one as far as territories go, because it didn't make any nostalgic sense to people. This is the last PlayStation, right?
You've been beating that drum for a while. You think they're gonna become a publisher?
This is the reason why. This is the exit strategy. He's been saving money here and there. Day and date is coming. You're right, because there's only going to be one place for you to get day and date. It's going to be through the service.
This just in. Sony to be acquired by Microsoft and brought in.
That's you know what? Listen, again, we're closing on that first hour. I want to get Fuzzy and I want to get Web Dave in on the conversation because they haven't said anything yet, and then we're going to get into why I'm glad King is here, and that's what happened yesterday. 98% of the board voted yes, even though Jason, I'm a rat, Schrier posted an article that embarrassed his career. He should be ashamed. But we're going to get into that. I got some words for the rat.
Those are heavy words, man.
They are. You know what? He is, to me, as good as someone that writes Santa bangs snowman, snow baby on the way in the Inquirer. So that's what I equate Jason Schrier. But again, that's just my personal opinion. And as you saw in the Twitter spaces, he went on a blocking spree because people called him out. And he doesn't take criticism very well, which is why he blocked me. I called him a pompous ass, and he has
I would have blocked you too if you called me a pump.
Well, I mean, listen, listen. If I give you the coat that you earned, you should wear it with pride, and that's what he did not do. So, listen, we'll get back to that momentarily. Fuzzy Belvedere, listen. Yeah. you have been a very, very vocal community member and PlayStation player, specifically in this year, of what happened with Gran Turismo 7. Okay, right? So you were very up there. You were in your feelings. You put it out there. You talked about it here. That's also bad news. Horizon Forbidden West, Buggy Central, that's still news. No numbers on how many sold, that's news. And then when you factor these shortcomings into what we just discussed now, it's a bad look for Sony, and it seems like they are slipping.
I remember when King David was saying originally in the beginning, before this generation really started, it was like, yeah, this will be their last console, and I kind of believed it, but it was like I was looking at it as this will be history repeating itself, almost kind of deal, where it's like if you look back at how they went from the high horse of the PS2 to the PS3, and they were full of themselves, I kind of feel they made some of the similar, errors, or however you want to look at it. Like custom chip for the PS3, developers have a hard time with it. Custom chip for the PS5, hard to get yields that are worthwhile to use. And
the yields were failing 1 out of every 2, and that's a problem. Yeah.
So there's hardly any consoles other than in scalper basements out there. So
they came out and tried to say that wasn't true, by the way. You remember that?
Well, of course you have to, because otherwise their stocks would tank on that.
Of course.
But it's just one of those things where right now they're kind of tripping over their own 2 feet type of thing. Like somebody tied their shoelaces while they weren't looking. It's like, all right, they never had it where you could really stack a lot of years for your PS Plus anyway. It was always kind of like, or at least from what I remember,
I think it was 2 years,
and then you'd have to every year, add a new card or whatever. But it just seems like kind of like what King David was saying, that they're trying to save as much money as possible. And I'm hoping it's not that they're completely exiting the console space, but I mean, they're just not making it. What seems, at least on the surface for now, from a gaming standpoint, it doesn't seem like a good decision. From a business standpoint, probably totally different world. But I don't understand.
All right, as you as a gamer, right? You as a gamer, how dope would it be to walk up to your Xbox, if it's still an Xbox there? Let's just assume that they stay for one more generation, right? Because I believe both of the parties are gone, regardless. But they just stick around. And you go to your Xbox and you turn your Xbox on and you pick up your PlayStation controller, because they still sell controllers. And you get your DualSense 2 or 3 or whatever hell they up to. And you go to your PlayStation app and you load up God of War Ragnarok 2. How does that affect you negatively? Unless you're a collector of consoles.
I mean, if they were to go away and their software is somewhere else, I mean, it's not going to affect me negatively. But it is kind of a collector's thing, because I still have my PS1. Okay. I skipped PS2 for PC at that point. Still have at least one of my PS3s, one of the original ones, not the Slim, and I still have my PS1. Well, 2 PS4 still here. The Nathan Drake one, which is my wife's DVR box or Netflix box, and then my original launch PS4. But I mean, outside of collecting, it really wouldn't affect me totally, because I have a PC. If there are softwares available to play on a TV or through Xbox, hey. But I don't know. I like having it where I can switch between the consoles, kind of thing. Like there's times where I'll have, perfect example, I'll have GT7 on my PlayStation 5, and then it's like, all right, I'll put that on pause for a bit. Let me hop over to my Series X. I'll go ahead and fire up Horizon 5 or Motorsport 7 or something along those lines, and then switch. It's almost like having, quick resume, but between the 2 consoles in a way.
I feel you,
but
I get you. I'm more of in how Stadia was doing their business, and I believe that was the wave, and that's the future. They were just a little bit ahead of their time. Yeah. When your TVs are able to have it, and you just pick up your controller, and listen, I can care less if that Xbox is inside my living room, if that PlayStation is inside my living room. Because if you have the Xbox, you have no controller, you just can't play anyway. But if I have the controller and I can just go to my TV, my Samsung, my LG, my whatever, my TCL for those people out there, and I hit the app, TCL might run terribly, but if I hit the app and I just play my games and I have the control, I don't care where they're at. It saves me a boatload of money on the console, saves them a boatload of money on putting the console together and shipping it to you. Everybody thinks they make money off of this hardware. They absolutely don't. Probably Nintendo's the only one that's making money. And if anybody's in Sony's financials talking about Sony's making money off these chips, well, obviously they're not, because they can't get these things over here. Because wouldn't you think they would like to get them to people's hands to make some money?
Well, so 50% of those chips are failed.
That's the part that I'm talking about. This is where all the money is falling out at. And if they ditch these consoles, give you these controllers, and you have the ability to play these things, we're attached to plastics for no reason other than the plastics that's in your hand, which is the controller. And as a business person, and I know these guys are exploring exit strategies, they're doing it. They're gone.
King, I've said this before. This is why they're going digital. Yep. Right, it's cheaper. TVs are getting. Remember how we were talking about the dongle, right? TVs are getting more and more better chips in their systems. So, right, the chips that they used to have couldn't even handle a TV. Now they're getting more where they actually have their apps. There is a Game Pass app on the Samsung TVs, right? Yep. So these chips are getting better in the TVs that they're going to be able to handle the localization that we've been talking about. So you don't need that Roku box, Xbox, Roku, whatever. Connector anymore. The same thing with the Google thing for Stadia. You won't need that stuff anymore, and on top of that, it cuts out on the cheating, because you can't cheat if you're logged into somebody else's server, because it's not on your system. It's out there. So people will find ways. Don't get me wrong. People will find ways, but it's going to be even that much harder. And on top of that, the piracy.
Yep.
So when it comes to PC, a lot of guys brag on that they don't pay for their games because they pirate it. And then you got the de novo, which hampers all these games because of these idiots piracying everything. So
those are all great points. And Fuzzy, let me ask you a question, right? Because I got a couple of things jotted down here real fast, and to piggyback off what Boom said, and those are great points by you and King for sure. Let me ask you this, right? Because it's something that I would like to know from the panel, and more importantly, so that everyone is crystal clear listening to this show. Everyone here is being critical of Sony because we have the right to. We are all consumers that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on Sony products. Okay. I have owned Sony products since I was like 7 or 8 years old, and my mom bought me a Walkman. So yes, I am entitled to talk about these things. Okay. For anyone out there listening, thinking that we're just bashing on Sony. So a question I have for you, right, Fuzzy, that I'm really interested in. All this talk that I've seen in the last couple of weeks, right, about how Xbox is selling so well, having their best selling date of March since the Xbox 360 days. To piggyback off what Boom was asking, is that because PlayStations are not available in store, or is that because of how well Xbox is doing and because Sony keeps on stepping on their feet over and over again? What do you think about that?
I think the latter, and I've heard a lot of people say things like, "Okay, you settle for what's on the shelf," and in some cases that
no
may
one
be the
settles
case.
on
Like,
a $300 purchase in this era of consumerism.
Exactly. Correct. Like I could see somebody at a restaurant. Hey, do you have Coke? No, we have Pepsi. All right, you settle.
Oh, you don't.
Yeah, a console. Come on. Else. Like, I mean, all right. I'll be honest. I did settle for consoles when it came to the Wii and the PS3, getting it for my great nephews. No Wii's to be found. So guess what? The boys got a PS3 that year. But that was a whole different thing, because it was like last minute. I have the money. I'm at the store. Let me make sure I get this last minute Christmas gift.
But it wasn't for you though. See?
That's one, like a rarity. That wasn't my intention to be like, oh, because if it was for me and I wanted a Wii, I'm not buying a PS3 in place of a Wii. I wanted the PS3 for myself, but I figured the Wii was more of their speed since they were little guys. So it's just one of those things where I can't see people settling for a console. Are there going to be people that do it? I'm pretty sure. There are people that pay over sticker price for cars. There are people that, just do random silly stuff when it comes to their shopping habits. But outside of that, I think Xbox, with the message of Game Pass, because you have to understand, us as the enthusiasts on, the vocal people on Twitter are like a tenth of a percent in comparison to the customer base or the masses, let's just say. And most of them, some of them get influenced by the salespeople at the store, but the majority of them get influenced by their friends and what they have and where they play. So if their friends are now picking up Xboxes, they're probably going to pick up an Xbox. If they could see that, hey, a lot of these games that I was buying and paying full price for are in a service where I could pay, a quarter of that and have access to 3 times the amount of games, I'll go that route. So I think the messaging, the value, the pricing, because a $300 console versus a $400 or $500 console, especially if it plays the same basic games, may not pay in 4K, but they may not have a 4K TV at that point either. But whatever the case may be, I think it's more of Xbox doing a much better job at the beginning of this generation, getting their message across to any gamer or potential gamer or consumer out there that this is a great place to spend your time or hobby or enjoy your hobby, basically. The PS5's not being there, it's not helping matters either, and their messaging is not helping.
Fuzzy.
Yeah.
So that's good stuff from everybody. Let's get Web Dave's, and I'm going to catch up on some of the super chats. I'm going to get into the big topic, which I'm glad King is here. Dave, look, everyone had incredible points.
Yep.
And when you start talking about one, and I've said this before, when you talk about PlayStation, you got to bring Xbox and vice versa, because they're the two behemoths in the room.
Yep.
One is doing it right. One is putting consumers first, and the other isn't. The other one, and what's disappointing and interesting about the Sony conversation is they were the masters of marketing last gen. They curb stomped Microsoft. There's no denying it, and I don't know what changed. I'm not sure what changed, but something did, and proof positive. People are now starting to look at Sony with a side eye. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, Dreadpool said dongle. I thought that was pretty funny.
Excellent. Everyone loves a dongle.
Oh yeah, but no, seriously. And King is absolutely on it. But this is leaving them Sony fans triggered. To be honest with you, they don't like being in this position at all. And last time, last generation, it was. Sony was the kings and Xbox was, possibly almost out until Phil came along and righted the ship. But it's just so telling that they can't. I don't know. It's so bad for them because there's the Xbox is succeeding. That it's just so I don't know. It's so they all you hear is all these these bad takes about who's leading, who's not, and it's just I don't know. It's so crazy right now with all this rhetoric that's going around, and it doesn't need to be there. It doesn't need to be to that point. I mean, I think that. Like I said, when King mentioned that Sony is working for their end game, which is maybe they've seen the writing on the wall and they're ready to obviously they have to stay in their position to where they are currently, but why do they need to make another console in the future if they can make their money in publishing? It just it does make more sense. And I really never thought of it that way until he brought it up. So I think that's pretty good. I know you got a ton of we've been digging this, beating this horse to death. Let's get to these super chats, man. So many good ones.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your opinion. We're gonna get to you momentarily. First of all, the first one of the morning comes in from Andy Hart, who drops a £5 super chat and says, "Hope everyone is well. I was looking to pick up a PlayStation 5, but I think I'll stick to my PlayStation 4 Pro. Heard a lot of issues with the VRR Also love my Series X. Well, thanks. Appreciate that. And he drops an additional £2 super chat. Does anyone on the panel think PlayStation 5 rushed out? Yes. As a matter of fact,
Definitely.
I believe they did. And we've talked about that on numerous podcasts where they were, again, maybe they rested on laurels. Maybe they sat on their hands. Maybe they thought that, the PlayStation cult that exists would just look past it and not care. I couldn't tell you, but it's obviously something. Gameonomics drops a very generous $4 super chat and says, remember the time we got free demos in floppies? Yeah, you're as old as I am, brother. I remember that on my Commodore 64. Yeah, I'm old. Rip Snorter drops an outstanding $8 super chat and says, congratulations on the 3 million views, Boom. Thanks for all the hours of entertainment you give us. Well, thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, it's 3 million, if anything, is crazy. And with only 10,000 subscribers, and I don't mean only like I'm being full of shit or anything. It's that's a lot of views for a small channel. And I am unbelievably, and I say we, Mrs. BoomStick and I, are incredibly grateful for the support. A good friend of the show, Elemental
They allow us to cash in those views.
You know what? I wish I could. For every
50 cents,
I would take a quarter rather than $1, but that still would be $1 million. I would be okay with that.
I'd take 50 cents a pop.
That's $1.5 million, brother. I like what you're putting down.
Yes, sir.
The compound, the Boom compound is coming.
It'd be crazy. Crazy.
LMNOPO drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, King David in the house. Good morning, gamers. Enjoying the discussion. Well, thanks for being here.
Blessings.
We also have Viper XT, who drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, I'm disappointed that there are no tiers to sub to just the games without the online. I don't play online on the PlayStation 5, so I keep PS Now for games. It's essentially doubled in price at a minimum, and it's at a minimum for me. You see, that's an interesting point and well taken. See, so the value for this gamer is just not there. And again, I only have PlayStation Plus for cloud saves. I can care less about the games.
That's where you are not the consumer that they're looking for.
Yep.
This service is showing you who they're looking for, what they're trying to groom you into being, and they're trying to groom you into being a digital online gamer who goes to this service to engage with them. And that is their exit strategy.
Yeah, that is, once again, a great point, King. Andy Hart drops an additional. Wow, dude, thank you for the generosity. Generous. John dropped out for a second. We'll get him back here. A £2 super chat. Afternoon, Boom and panel. Afternoon to you as well, my brother. Raiden Blade drops a £2 super chat and says, King David incoming, Outriders DLC. Are you returning?
Yes, I am.
You are?
That hit me at PAX. I went absolutely nuts. I ran home. I already pre-downloaded it. I already pre-ordered it. We'll be right back in the FedEx, sir.
Yeah, I love it. Because I quite enjoyed Outriders myself.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm close to beating it, so I got to get back into it. Dave Ramos drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, with PS Plus announced, does this give Xbox an advantage for how it eventually addresses Xbox Live Gold and the goal to channel those subscribers to X? Yeah, I think so. I think what they're going to eventually wind up doing is, and again, this is just an opinion, they could move those gold subscribers that are paying $10 a month for gold over to just the console version of Xbox Game Pass that it now is going to include gold. Again, it's only time is going to tell. We have Raiden Blade drops a £2 super chat. Additional one says, I'm just wondering, ZeniMax is making an X-Men MMO. I don't know, but they're working on a Marvel IP that's been confirmed by both Skullsy TV, who was on the Xbox Factor podcast on Tuesday, as well as Special Nick.
Could
from
be
the
the
Xbox
Fantastic
era.
Four game.
Maybe. Who knows? But I am all in. I've been banging the drum for a while. They need
clobbering time.
Yes,
Did King just open his mouth?
Boxenberg, a good friend of the program. I think everyone knows him. He drops a £2 super chat and says 3 million BoomStick. Big congrats. Thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Daniel M. McGee drops a $2 super chat and says, if Sony stock drops any more, they'll be bought. Yeah, King's been talking about that for a while.
Splendiferous drops unless you want to be.
Yeah, no, you're right for that. You're right. Splendiferous drops a £2 super chat and says Hakeem is up early this morning. Great panel, Boom. Thanks, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Viper XT drops an additional $10 super chat and says Xbox should do this is how you time trials. Purchase. Try for 2 hours, not satisfied, full refund, no subscriptions needed. I love it. That's dirty. I love it, man. That's snarky, and they should do that. They should have Larry Hurd come out and say, hey, whoever, how do you play a game on Xbox Game Pass? Do you need to pay a demo? No, here you go, right? $15 a month. There you go. Demo's free. Andy Hart drops an additional. Wow, Andy, thank you so much for the generosity. He says that he drops an additional £5 super chat. Says, I'm loving what Xbox provides, but I would love a big single player campaign similar to God of War, Last of Us 2. Is that too much to ask? No, and that's coming. You're gonna get that in several of their games coming out, and yep. I'm right there with you. I like that single player selfish type of gamer that I am. Just very similar to Sovereign, which he said, on ILP. Raiden Blade drops an additional £5 super chat and says it's all about money, R&D cost. Sony sees more money. They are looking at other companies' software making money everywhere. You don't need to buy more studios. Yeah, that's true. And Andy Hart drops an additional. Wow, dude. Very generous £5 super chat. And at the end of the day, Microsoft can afford to take the hit. Sony cannot. That is facts.
That is true to a certain extent, but at the same time, Microsoft isn't going to back Xbox if they keep on being.
If they keep losing money, they would step out. Yeah.
So I see a lot of people writing that and tweeting about that, but it doesn't excuse Sony's practices. That's the difference.
100%. Yeah, no, absolutely, 1,000%. It's unexcusable what they're doing and how they're treating their consumer, which is gross. But let's get into the big topic here. Yesterday morning, ladies and gentlemen, it was reported by Bloomberg.com by Jason Schrirer that Wall Street is betting that the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal will fail, even if this is what they reported. And I'm very, very surprised because it's Bloomberg. But I understand that since that he joined the team, they figured, well, you know what, we can get some tabloid clicks. Let's let this guy go crazy. He wrote a book. He do.
God, no.
Well, our good friend Richard Hogue of Hogue Law of Michigan, who has been on this show numerous times and wanted to be here today, but he couldn't get out of some of the things he was doing that were obviously real life. We're going to try and get Rich back here next week. He put out a tweet that I literally stood up in my chair and applauded. And he says this, folks, get ready. I'm sorry, there is an explicit here. I have to say it for context, but stand by. He says this: there is no indication that Wall Street believes the deal will fail. Microsoft Activision is trending currently at 70-30 from the market. With a year plus of time value of money, discounts in an inflationary environment is also incorporated into the conversation. And this is what he finishes off with: complete, unmitigated bullshit is what he said. And when Richard is telling you that, and he says this on a follow-up tweet, and I don't use such terms lightly. So there you go. And of course, he continued, he dropped a video, fake news and other Activision headlines for what is going on. Now, King David, we know for a fact that the board voted yesterday. Yeah. And what came out of everywhere, Yahoo News, here, there, and everywhere, it was reported that 98%+ of the board have agreed for Activision Blizzard to be sold to Microsoft. Now, granted, they still have to pass FTC scrutiny, which we know is the next hurdle. We did hear a lot of people that are against this move, that are, part of the, somewhat, I mean, some of them are gamers, some of them are part of the toxic
political PlayStation Nation.
Yeah, I mean, this deal is going through. When you heard that the deal passed at 98%, what were your initial thoughts on this, especially coming off of the report that earlier that morning that the deal is expected to fail, from Wall Street?
Well, I just talked to my wife this morning. We was going over stock options and stuff like that, and I'm trying to explain to her how our portfolio looks, right? So when you're diversifying, you're putting it in different spaces. You try to look at how the market is being trended. Jason Schrirer, my good friend. You pick wrong, and I understand.
You bet on the wrong pony, is what you're saying.
I'm not going to use these words. I'm just what I'm saying is, a lot of people didn't want this stuff to pass, right? And I'm going to tell you that there's billions of reasons why it's gonna pass, right? Yeah. And it's a lot of people.
69.8 billion to be exact.
The board want to cash out.
Yeah.
All right. The board was looking at their stocks going down lower and lower. The shenanigans that were going on at Activision was destroying the company from the inside.
Yep.
Right.
Like a cancer.
The verbiage around the company was absolutely toxic. It was fanboyish.
Hire female employees. There was a lot of negativity. But you know what, King? Before I let you go, I want people to just imagine this for a second. And this is why when I read his article, see, I can't message Schrier personally because he has me blocked, and that's fine.
Of course. You called him a pompous behind.
That's
fine.
Of course. I still went out there, but I want people to understand something. At its lowest point, the Activision Blizzard stock was trading at $64 per stock, when it at some point was upwards of $114 prior to the, pardon my French, shit hitting the fan with the company. So they lost nearly half. Microsoft is willing to pay $95, which isn't much. I mean, it's still a $20 deduction.
That's what I was going to get into. When I brought up how your portfolio looks and how your stock options are. All right, guys, listen. When you go into the market, and we're at the age now where we're investing.
Yes.
All right. Now, for
the future, of course.
Yeah. A lot of us weren't taught money management as children. So either we learned it while we got older, or we went to the old folks' home broke. Right. So we're learning it now, and the children of this age now are learning how to work a portfolio and stuff. For you guys that don't know, if you have a stock and you purchase the stock at X amount of dollars and it goes up to 120, you're winning, right? Let's say you got in when it was 50 and it's at 120, and you're like, wow, this is it. I already have like 400 shares. And I'm banking on this so I can pull out and I can sell. Okay. Then you go to your stock the next day, something happens at the company. You have no idea. But you go and look at your stocks, and your stocks fell down to $60. This is the part where you start grabbing your hair and you start pulling it out and you look like me, right?
Man, if you rip down to the root, you're bleeding. But okay, I'll let you go with this.
So you're here with this bleeding scalp, and you're sitting there, and you're like, "Oh my God, what is going to happen?" Here comes Captain Save a Group, as far as Microsoft goes, and say, "Listen, which was voted one of the best companies to work for." Best work environment with diversity and inclusion for all. Okay, so let's look at that there. This is why I know it's going to pass the scrutiny level. And then they said they offer. So you're at 60. We're offering you to cash out per share at $98, $98, $96, something like that. How fast do you think I can jump through that hoop of fire to get the cash, to get the hell out the door, so you can go have a great day and you can build this bonfire back to respectability?
It's a no-brainer.
Exactly what's going to happen.
Yep.
So if anybody had a small inkling of failure coming from the board, you're out of your mind, because they watch millions float away in a snap. Right? So that million just went out the window, and they're trying to figure out, how can I get back to respectability? I was just about to buy the home in the Aruba. I was just about to go on this cruise. I promised the wife a birthday.
Or in some cases, buy the yacht.
Yeah, well, that's not happening. Microsoft comes in and they say, we want this and we'll do this and we'll buy it above market value.
How fast can I sign?
Because we want to close this deal.
Yep.
So, of course, it's going to pass at a 98%. The 2%, those fools are billionaires.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
They were probably looking, we'll take 105.
And they probably follow. Yeah, and they probably follow Jason Schrirer, by the way. So
no, nobody's following him that's on that board. All right. Okay, so let's just keep it 100. No disrespect to him. I love him as a person. He's a great dude for me. Not for everybody else. I see he gets a lot of flack. But regardless to what, there's some people, and he's part of the 2% that wanted it to fail. Okay? Now we're going to talk about the 98%, the people that's out there that's like us, the people that want to get their investment back, the people that want to see Microsoft's success. This is going to happen. So when you hit me up yesterday, I had no idea, because like I said, I was moving all around.
Right.
When you hit me up yesterday and you explained to me, King, this happened, X, Y, and Z, like you stood up in your chair, I stood up inside my car, hit my head on the ceiling, and I made a moonroof. But I clapped. And I said, good. Now all this little talk on the internet where people saying, oh, it's not going to pass, and the fear mongering can at least be quiet for right now, because the last bastion of hope for you 2%, the last bastion of hope is for them not to pass these regulations. And that is fool's gold. Microsoft is going to acquire Activision. And I told you before, and I'm going to tell you again here, Ubisoft is next. When that happens, please make everybody that you know follow me for financial advice so I can start this firm up, because I told you what was going to happen.
I'll be your first client, brother. Don't worry. Me and Mrs. Boom, we invested for the future. I'm going with King.
Fantastic stuff, man.
I was
actually amazed when you hit me up, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always call you, though. I mean,
yes,
you remember the conversation with Bethesda? I was yelling at the top of my
it was out of control.
I mean, bad take is an understatement. I mean, that was cleared up in a few hours, I think, right?
It literally was like a 2-hour difference from his report to the announcement of the board, which again, if it was originally reported that they were going to sit down and vote on it, but that the decision was not going to come until May 4th. It came literally an hour after the decision was made. Everyone had it. Again, Yahoo Finance, business.net had it. Everyone that's anyone had this. But I want to bring in Web Dave on the conversation first, because we didn't get a full response out of him the last time. Dave, look, there are a lot of reasons, if you are a Sony player, to not want this deal to go through. Because what's going to eventually wind up happening is a lot of the games that are going to be first party are probably going to be exclusive to either PC or, of course, Xbox. One of the games that is not going to be exclusive, and I don't think it has to be, is Call of Duty. Now, I've gotten some pushback on that because people are like, well, it should be because Sony. Spider-Man is the one that come to mind. I can't play Spider-Man on my Xbox. I hear you, and I'm not arguing that. If that's how you feel, not a problem. But the issue at hand here isn't so much the exclusivity. The issue of hand is PlayStation 5 gamer on the right. Here in New York, $76.43 for that game. Plus, whatever, DLC you're going to buy, map packs or whatever. Gamer on the left, Xbox, gamer or PC gamer, $15 a month, and we get all these perks. that probably going to be skins and first maps and things of that nature. And eventually what you're going to wind up seeing is there's going to be the subset of community members that are considered the normies, the casuals, if you will, that make up 85% of PlayStation gamers are going to potentially, I'm not saying all 85%, but you could get 50, you could get 60% of those people that only buy 3 games a year, are not going to want to pay $76 because their friend just told them that they got it for free. How did you get Call of Duty for free? Oh, dude, it's an Xbox Game Pass. Because that's what we think. That's what we equate free with the amount of value we're getting, even though we are paying $15 a month. When you heard that it passed, were you surprised?
No, not at all. I was excited, and it's a no-brainer. King said it. It's about money for them. They want that money. They they want the payout. They're ready to go. And even in the board also at that, apparently they also did vote to do the golden parachutes. So
yeah, of course they did.
But you know what? Who cares? The big point is that once Microsoft does take over, because like King said, this deal is going through. There's no stopping it. And once it goes through, Kotick is gonna be gone. And give me this little parachute. Bye-bye. See you. Because they don't want that headache. They're ready to move on. And Phil said, everybody's going to be answering to me.
Yeah.
So Phil is going to be in charge. He's going to be at the seat because everybody respects him and they know that he wants to get things done the right way. And he's about the programmers and the developers and making sure that everything is good for their consumer. That's what they want. That's what's going to happen. And if there is any kind of stipulation, I hope it goes exclusive, at least eventually, after their negotiations or things, run out, that Sony had in place with Activision. But if there is some kind of like, because we've heard that they can put in some kind of like, they need to be this and this.
There could be some stipulations, but it's but like Hogue Law said, it's unlikely.
But if there is, Microsoft can just sue them.
they could,
and I guarantee you they're going to be like, you know what, maybe you're right. Maybe we just need to let this go. Microsoft knows what they're doing. They're one of the biggest companies in the world for a reason. They have amazing lawyers. They've looked at this a lot of different ways, and every scenario that's going to come up or problem, they've already calculated for and are ready for and are ready to move the ball forward. There is no stopping this deal. I'm just hoping that it actually gets done this year, which is a big possibility before their imposed deadline. Yeah. So I'm hoping it happens, and I really think there's no stopping this deal. It's going, and as soon as it is done, there's going to be the board members at Microsoft that are
they're
going
to say who's next.
Exactly. Hey, Phil,
exactly what Phil said about this deal. They asked after Bethesda, who's next?
Exactly.
Who's next?
Exactly.
Listen, let's welcome in Mr. Badbit, who's joining us for the first time in
Hello.
Forever. Joe, what's up?
Hello. I literally only have 5 minutes. 5 minutes, but
how come I didn't see you in Boston, Joe?
Well, I got work, man. It's been nuts. It's been crazy. But hopefully next year. I missed all the photos. I missed everybody, man.
Yeah, well,
we missed you
too, Joe. Okay, so before we bring in John Wolf, let's get Joe in and out because you got 5 minutes. Joe, listen. Yesterday, again, we this particular topic we opened up with the Schrier report.
Man.
He got called out on, and he blocked a lot of people. I saw people that never had a conversation with him that were blocked. Because they liked something.
What an individual.
Yeah. You're being generous. I called. I don't want to get back to what I'm saying. I know. I really choked King David with what I had to say.
I'll just say this. I'll say this because I have 2 little rants, and I feel like I needed to just say my piece. First off, shout out to Hogue Law for embarrassing that man. He's like, many people don't want this, and then you just see 98% of them voted yes. That is so fun. It's happening, guys. It's gonna happen. It's fine. Everything's, you know what happens to me, guys? I get to play my Blizzard games on my PC where I always have for like $15 a month. It's gonna be great. Nothing changes for me. I don't care one way or the other. So, that whole thing, funny stuff, Jason. Good reporting there, bud. The second thing, this is why I feel like I needed to be here just to announce my frustration, and then I'm dipping.
Okay.
Because I got a lot. If y'all have not seen the spectacular disaster that has been the rollout of the PlayStation tiers, it's get your Excel spreadsheets, because a few weeks ago, right, they were like, hey, we're matching PS Now subscribers 1-to-1. It's, to premium, which is like cool, great. I definitely hopped on that. I'm like, no way I'm not going to. That's awesome. $60 to get a year. Oh, great. Well, people found that loophole. And so suddenly, just out of nowhere, they're like, yeah, listen, we're not honoring that. In fact, we're going to block that until this system releases. So there's no stacking PS Plus and PS Now. And then they give you a spreadsheet. And I'm not kidding you guys. There's like 12 items of how things convert, how things track. And I just have to say, how is this so hard? Like, the one thing that I have hated the most about this until this point, the rollout of the tier thing, is PlayStation is pretty much just, the way this rollout is here's how we're going to charge you money, right? Here's how we're going to charge you for this service. There has not been, other than like 3 games they've talked about, any games that you're actually going to be playing on this service. It's just, here's how we're going to charge you. And all the deals you thought you were going to get ahead of us, we're not going to allow that one bit. It is so spectacularly awful, and it is crazy to see so much silence. Like, I've seen disappointment from my peers for sure, but there's been just so much silence about this, going, well, there's nothing we could do, this sucks. No, there is definitely something you could do. Keep on voicing your disdain. Keep on voicing like for real. Once my limit's out for PlayStation Plus, I might not re-up it. I think Xbox may be the place I do for multiplayer.
That's how you make the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. So no. All right. And the reason why I'm gonna say no, because anybody that has an actual voice that actually gets review codes and stuff like that from Sony, not saying that you guys are on the take, I'm just saying that maybe it is. But the moment that you say anything negative in that space, because we're talking about the people that actually has a voice, right?
Yep.
Because Twitter guys really think you got a voice. You don't, please. But the dudes that actually have a voice, the dudes that actually get consoles and get review stuff and are on their emailing lists and actually know people that actually work at Sony and then actually have contacts, those individuals are not jeopardizing those contacts and those relationships over voicing an opinion about a service that they're going to probably get for free and they're going to talk about, and they're supposed to blow it.
They should. And you're absolutely right. They've been Nintendo-fied. Nintendo will do the same crap, and people will be like, "Oh, but I'm really excited for the Genesis games I'm getting." It's like, no, you're 100% right. That we always yell on Twitter, and oftentimes it's out one ear.
But you know where the BS starts and the BS ends?
Tell me.
Microsoft is held to a different standard than those two companies. And if Microsoft was doing anything remotely close to what these companies are doing and actually, succeeding at what they're doing, Microsoft will be vilified. And I really believe that it has to do with the fact that it's a Western company versus an Eastern company. And we treat our own badly, right? And it's changing. It's actually changing. But I don't want anyone to not view or voice their opinion. I want them to see, I want them to learn, and I want them to voice their opinion on all companies equally.
That's right.
Right? So that way things can change, but it won't change if they're scared about losing relationships. What I will tell you guys, lose your relationships. Because when you stop bloviating, when you stop supporting bad practices, they will learn that they cannot control a populace without your voice. You control it. Stop wanting to be the first to review a game and to have a game and be the first person to do this and to do that. Be the real person, the honest person, and that way actual change can actually happen. Sorry.
Preach. No.
Integrity, brother. It's what it's called.
Exactly. King, you nailed it. It's often the smaller folks that risk it for the biscuit, and the ones that are, getting their yellow chairs, they don't say anything.
Hey, okay. Oh, hey. I know where you went with that. Stop it.
Are you getting a yellow chair in the mail? Is this why you're telling me this?
No, I'm not getting a yellow chair. This is from BJ's brother. Mine's $69.
That's I love you so much, King. Everybody, I love you all so much.
Listen, real quick, Bad Bit is going to be the guest on next week's X Vlog on Thursday at 12 p.m. We're going to be talking some Halo. So by then, we will have been played. We'll be teaming up in the new Battle Pass that launches next week. Cannot wait for that. So, Mr. Bad Bit, thanks for coming in, dropping in. Love you, Joe.
Love you guys.
See you next week, brother.
See you guys.
Right. Peace, brother.
Right.
Later, Joe.
John Wolf, let's get your opinion. There again, going back to the reason why people want this to fail. Microsoft has been in an upswing since E3 2018, right? They announced 5 studios. They announced that they purchased. They announced how they made the initiative, and it's been one just big bomb after another. Obviously, no one bigger bomb than Bethesda. They have a game that a lot of people don't know this. Sony tried to lock up as an exclusive forever. A lot of people don't know that. That's a fact. And it's that good of a game. Now, apparently, because it's Xbox, it's shit. And that's fine. We'll see this fall. But when you look at this deal, when you hear that 98% of the board said, yes, we want that $95 for the stock that's currently trading at 64, it's literally a no-brainer. But just to think about what's going to come on the back end of this deal for Xbox gamers, it is going to move the needle even further, proving that you must, if you are a gamer, you must invest into the Xbox ecosystem, whether that means buying a box or at least going on your $5,000 rig, which we know all these Sony players have.
That's the key right there. What you just said right now is the key, by the way, Boom. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm gonna
go crazy, brother. Go ahead. Take it away.
I'll tell you why. And here's my issue with Jason Schrier, the person, right? The Jason Schrier, the person. I'm a nobody. All right. This man has blocked me because I liked and I retweeted Hoglaw's tweet. Okay, so what does that
tell
me?
Everybody. Yeah. Join the club, brother. It's not an exclusive club. Trust me, you're better.
I didn't direct message him. I didn't send anything obscene. Nothing. Just block me for that. That's cool, whatever. But the bottom line is that when you got a dude sitting there, right, and spending time just blocking people that don't agree with his take or see things different, doesn't want to engage in dialogue, doesn't want to say, hey, listen, I feel about this because of this, this, and this. I'm not saying we need to see eye to eye. Boom. Everyone on this panel, if you disagree with everything I say, I'm open up to dialogue and debate. And I love that stuff, right? Because that's how you learn and that's how you grow as a human being. Okay?
No, I disagree. You're blocked.
Yeah, you're blocked.
Thanks. There you go. That's the Jason Schrier way, So the thing is that I mean, my favorite tweet before this one that he just posted yesterday, that I do agree with you 100%. Boom, he made himself look like an ass yesterday. Okay, an ass hat. Okay, and Hoglaw, dude, respect to the man to come out and actually put the facts on record and not let Jason Schrier run with the narrative that he tried to put out there. Okay, so I you guys remember when the Series X was launching that Jason Schrier, he gave us his quick thoughts and he said the verdict is to hold off. Okay, hold off on the Xbox Series S and the X for now because there's nothing new and there probably won't be for a long time. Okay, you had people within the media and people within, you know, YouTube and social media praising the Xbox Series X and the S, saying how good of a console it was with the quick resume, all the, you know, the great job that Xbox did bringing back those backwards compatibility titles, adding, you know, features to them and such to take advantage of the box. And there's this dude putting this type of tweet out there. Is it his opinion? Yeah, and that's okay. He can have his opinion. But why do I personally feel that every time that he is giving Microsoft or Xbox a compliment, he needs to do a backhand slap at the same time? It can't just be, it can't. Imagine someone comes up to me and they tell me, "Hey, John Wolf, I really like what you said, but your hair was at whack that day." Or, you know, they always got, dude. They always have hair. They always got, you know, it's these types of people that always got something to say. That I'm sorry, Boom. I'm almost a 40-year-old man. I can read between the lines, brother. You're not dealing with a 16-year-old here. So yeah. So when you see Xbox centric gamers and people that are supportive of this deal come out in volumes and waves for support of the deal for everything you mentioned, and plus so many more benefits.
But Wolf, a lot of people are against it. It's 2%.
Yeah. That's
the 2%ers. Look out for those guys.
That's the 2% team.
Dude, that tweet was he could have jeopardized his whole career with that. And check this out though, and this is why I don't think that Boom is exaggerating or anyone here on this panel is exaggerating when we say this. Dude, you could have jeopardized your career over writing something like that because you're getting in your feels, you know?
Yeah, instead of reporting it, which when you're a reporter, you know, journalistic integrity is a thing, folks. Okay, it's supposed to be more than about clicks, and I get that this, you know, that it's a business. King, I get it. I get it's a business, but there is false reporting, and then there's someone that is literally capping for Sony because he's a Sony fan in a business that you're supposed to have integrity, and we know that he does not.
That's the point that I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to make. Go ahead.
I just want to say. Let's say before he had...
King, but let me stop you there. I just checked. You're blocked by Schrier because you're on the show. FYI. Your friend.
No.
I'm not blocked. He's my friend.
No, I know.
Okay, listen. Let's just say he did his research. Let's just say before they even went into the meeting, somebody hit him and was like, "Yo, got some information. A lot of these dudes ain't down with it. All right, so I don't think it's gonna go in their favor." And he's like, "Oh my God, I got the exclusive. I got the scoop. I got it from the horse's mouth. Bang, bang, bang. Write this up. Get this out there. Oh man, this is gonna be a dope one." Okay, let's just say that part just happened. Now, how many of you guys online, when you're about to vote for your next president, and they go, "Hey, are you voting for so-and-so?" You're like, "Damn right." And you went in there and vote for somebody else, right? Because they're not letting their hand show. So maybe he got false information going into the deck, and then boom, he got blindsided. I mean, that stuff does happen.
I love you for that, because you really the benefit of the doubt you're giving this racket is just
okay. Well, incredible. See, where I come from and where you come from, Boom, rat is a very hard word. Right, so let's Boom. You're so messy. So I walk away from that word, and you know, maybe the pompous, but maybe that might be more along the lines. But I'm saying this one instance here, and I mean, he has egg all over his face, his yolk all over the place, and maybe somebody looked over and gave him bad info.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
but
listen,
the thing is,
you are right.
This is the last thing that I'll say. King, I would have more respect for the man if he came out and he said, "I made a mistake. I was wrong." You know what I'm saying?
He's not ever going to throw his sauce under the bus. I mean,
oh man, I don't know.
I'm a provocateur, right? That man's a real journalist. On all merit.
If you count the Inquirer as real journalism,
no. Listen. I'm going to count him going to school, him putting in the work. his body of work speaks for itself, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Right. And I'm just saying, I'm a provocateur. I did not go to school for journalism. I go out to get information, and I report it in that fashion. Right. So more or less, I'm learning on the fly where this guy was actually trained up. Right. He's an actual Marine. I'm a soldier. But at the same time, people do make mistakes. He could have got wrong information. The intel is wrong. How many times have our Marines and stuff like that went into war and the intel was wrong, but they got it from a credible source that they used millions of times? And that one moment that stuff is wrong can cost a whole lot of things to go wrong. So I think he got wrong information because knowing the dude, knowing that he fact checks, go back and he do his due diligence like a lot of us do. A lot of us, man, you, Cog, 108 Dragons, Ains, a lot of you dudes go and y'all read and you're going and you get the information and you dig deep and you come back with it. If at any point in time your sources give you bad information and you say this stuff on the air, you're the one with the egg on the face. But a real credible dude stands up, takes his medicine, and doesn't throw his source under the bus.
But do you block everyone that
believe he's not doing that?
But okay, but then he goes on and he'll block everyone that liked Hoag's.
Sometimes you can't take the heat, man. Sometimes you woke up with you. Listen, sometimes you stub your toe at the end of the corner of the bed and you really sick and tired of the bus driver when you got on the bus because he said you're moving too slow. Listen, man, I hit my toe at the edge of the bed. I'm going to block you. So,
I mean, listen, look, you are absolutely entitled to your feelings. I
just
listen,
love
on
to
his
do.
best
I'm going to defend
day,
him like I'm going to defend Boom. Listen,
no,
and I'm going to defend Boom harder.
I hear what you're saying. Like I said, and that's the one thing I love about us. We can disagree, and obviously we can still be brothers. So I hear what you're saying, and you might be onto something. Though here's the thing: proven track records, the receipts, as the kids call them, are there for us to see. And at every given moment, he has gone out of his way to take shots at Microsoft because he prefers Sony, and that's he's entitled to do so. But when you are reporting the news, you are required by the simple words of journalistic integrity to do the right thing. And again, my opinion differs from King's, and that's cool. I consider Jason Schrirer the kind of journalist that would write for the Inquirer, where others would think that he writes for Bloomberg. That's perfectly fine. But what I want to continue is the conversation at hand. First of all, we had almost 500 people here today, and that's amazing. So if you are new, you're finding the channel for the first time, and you are enjoying the banter, please consider subscribing. And of course, before we get on out of here, and we still got some minutes, folks, we're going to go in a little bit of overtime. Because obviously we had a big panel, a couple people came in and out. King, whenever you got to bounce, brother, you just let me know. We'll give you your outro.
No. Listen, I already finished work. Once I'm home.
Oh, excellent. Good. Okay, so let's bring in, and I'll come back to John in a second. Dreadpool, you have had some things to say, and we're really, this isn't. Let's turn this topic into I want to attack Jason Schrier. I don't care about the dude. He did something yesterday that I thought was inherently
that's why you gave me the out.
Wrong. Right? He jumped out ahead of something. He printed something that was concocted in the back rooms of wherever, and then 2 hours later he was embarrassed by Hoag Law. And Hoag Law wasn't very nice about the way he embarrassed him. And I applaud Hoag for it because obviously he's an acquisitions lawyer. And we knew that this was tabloid-related rhetoric that he was trying to push in regards to Jason Schreier's report. 98% of the board said yes. Now, again, this doesn't guarantee the deal's going through because they still have to get past the FTC scrutiny, which we know there's going to be some. A lot of it is grandstanding. This deal's going through. What were your thoughts on the fact that everything from these two behemoths known as Activision Blizzard are going to be in Xbox Game Pass sooner than later?
You know what went through my mind? I got to tell you, I was like, whoo, thank God Jason Schrirer didn't block me.
Oh, good for you, man. Good on you. Good on you. You're like one. That's like Lucky Charms luck, brother.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
I know. I know.
Like King says, he's doing his job. He's doing the best with the information he has. He's fact checking, and he just can't take the heat. That's it. You know what I mean? So it's not a big deal. I don't care for him, but I'm not gonna go after him and attack him. Like somebody else in the chat, which is questioning Hoag's authority on his YouTube-ness. He's a lawyer, which happens to be doing YouTube. So don't worry about Hoag. Hoag Law is an actual lawyer. And the reason why he did what he did is because he wanted to correct something that was wrong.
Yeah.
Whether or not Jason comes back and clarifies anything, that's on him. You know, but as King said, when you put something out there and it comes back that it's different from what you trusted, it's egg on your face. You know, you just got to eat it, right? You got to admit to it. And how many times have, there's some of us have done it. I know I've done it myself many times. I'll full float tell you, you know what? I said it wrong. I guessed it wrong. I screwed up, you know, I'll take the blame. I'm not going to sit there and pass the buck or pretend that like it never happened, you know? And that's the thing is part of that is what needs to happen.
But would you throw your source under the bus?
He doesn't have to apologize.
Never.
He'd be like, listen, I got some information that was incorrect. I apologize for the post. That's it.
Right.
You don't got to
source. Even the source got it wrong. I don't care how you look. How you look at it.
Okay, so just like you're saying, and just very minor, Dread. I just want to say, the moment that you do a retraction, then there's questions in that thread. Well, where did you get the information from, and all this other stuff? So I can understand a little bit of hesitancy. Sorry,
but even then, source. I mean, think about this though. How many times back in the day was Microsoft getting their stuff leaked, where they started throwing out fake information to figure out who the leakers were?
Well, right? You know, it's funny you should say that, Dredd, because just to prove my point about the rat being anti-Xbox, last year, 10 minutes before the Microsoft press conference, what did Mr. Schrier, I wear Sony underwear, do?
Oh my God.
Dropped the trailer for Starfield. 10 minutes before the start of Microsoft's conference. That's what Mr. Underwears did. So listen, you tell me if he's not feeling, if getting in his feels, as the kids say, that Microsoft is potentially going to take over the industry. But please continue.
I don't know. Mr. Inquirer knows how to play the game, apparently, to get my attention. But that's, you know, either way, it doesn't matter. This is going to happen, so it's not a big deal. We've already figured this out. The FTC, the SEC, whoever, anybody of government that's going after all this, right? Even the FBI is looking into this, apparently. So they just can't see eye to eye with the CIA right now because the phone taps aren't working because of Snowden. But it's okay.
So are you saying that after this deal is signed, we're finally going to learn where Jimmy Hoffa was buried?
We
will get some hints as to where Hoffa is.
All Putin's fault.
But I'm not telling you, but my source is telling me that he's by DB Cooper.
Oh my God! Definitely out of here.
No, but I mean,
the phone's tapped.
You know, people take this stuff way too seriously, way out of hand, and a lot of it is just basically due diligence. They want to make sure that this is right. Some of them obviously are taking it beyond that. It's a look at me. I mean, how many? What was it? That one congresswoman, you know?
She's from
Warren.
Yeah,
but still, yet again,
Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas.
Just
listen. She had filibusters that she has to work on, and stuff has to happen in her areas. Politics plays a huge role in these things. This is a huge acquisition that gets headlines. Once it hits the papers, you are free bait.
Who are you going to remember when you go to that poll? The name that's most memorable to you. So you may not know the other person that's running up against her, but you'll know who she is. And then you're like, you know what? I think she was fighting for us. We'll vote for her. So there's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes, a lot of reasons. So when it comes to plain and simple fact, it's going to happen. They're going to pass it. Everybody's happy. Everybody's going to be making money. Everybody's getting their views, per se. You know, whether or not somebody called something wrong, it's not a big deal. It's going to turn into Activision's going to go, and we're going to get Call of Duty sooner than later.
Yep.
Mr. Underwear.
Some people will get World at War Warzone.
Hold on now. Hold on. I'm still moving a goalpost. Give me a second.
All right, I was about to say, yeah, you need any help? Because I can help you.
Yeah, I can. I got a bad back. So it's tough to sit in the chair.
I'm just going to kick it with my feet, Boom. I'm just going to kick it.
Fuzzy, let's get your opinion on this. Obviously, the messiness is fun, right? We're all having fun and games with what happened, but the reality is that this is a monster step for Microsoft.
Yeah,
this is a monster hurdle. This again, nothing is guaranteed in life, folks. You know, you feel healthy today, and tomorrow you wake up and God forbid you have a heart attack, and it's just not looking good. These things happen. This is video games. This is what we're here for. And based on the outcrying support for this deal to go through, because these are all millionaires that want to remain millionaires and make even more millions, this deal has gone through. There's a chance that this deal does go through this year, considering that this hurdle has been leaped, and now all they have to do is get past FTC, which is a possibility that, again, it could happen. Yeah. When you think about what this means for you as a consumer for Xbox, how big of a deal is it? And were you surprised that the deal got almost over 98%?
No, I'm not surprised as far as the 98%. I mean, I would have probably expected it to be a little bit higher, but as King had stated, you know, a couple of the billionaires that are already in the board, it's like the numbers don't really mean much to them. If they're, you know, if they can get a little bit more out of it, is probably what they were looking for, and you know, it is what it is, type of thing. But overall, this is great for the fact that this is one of the stepping stones that they've you know stepped over, or one of the hurdles they've jumped over, type of deal. Now the FTC is the next one. I don't foresee that one being too much of a problem. It might be more of a dog and pony show as far as if it's televised stuff where, you know, they have the council and they broadcast it and ask a bunch of not random questions, but less relevant questions to what gaming is really about and stuff. But I think overall, this is one of those deals that's just going to wind up going through. And I kind of hoped that this was going to be wrapped up by August, September time, but it looks like it's still going to be possibly into the fall, early part
maybe towards the end of the year.
Yeah. But not knocking Jason Schrier. I just want to say a couple of quick things on him. He kind of doubled down. So whether his source was wrong or whatever the case is, he's doubling down, saying that, well, it was expected that they would vote this way, and it's still going to fail because of FTC. And I get that. A lot of times when you're passionate about your job or passionate about a particular topic that you're working or industry that you're working in, sometimes you get a little too close, and your feelings might bleed into your reporting or your workflow. So I don't know the guy personally. I just feel that sometimes his feelings sometimes do leak into things and the direction as far as how he steers his pieces and stuff like that. But overall, you know, there's a whole bunch of naysayers out there, him being one of them, and there's tons of others out there. I always say, you know, be careful what you wish for, because if this deal doesn't go through, then the alternative is Activision probably goes bankrupt.
Yep. And
one of the only companies that has the kind of money to buy those IPs and just own them outright would be Microsoft. So it's almost like it's an inevitability. You could either have it where they continue to have the company and the employees and the buildings and all that, or it's fire sale and goes to the highest bidder.
And then at that point, you're now 10,000 people are laid off.
Right. So
you don't want that, which is ridiculous. Again, I mean, good stuff as always, Fuzzy. Dave, let's get your opinion on this. We'll get everyone out of here after I catch up on the super chats. But Dave, obviously, you know, again, we had some fun, and honestly, I was being more for real than I was being facetious, because I don't like Jason Schrier. I think he's a terrible person, and I think he's even a worse journalist. And you know, again, you know, that's fine. That's my opinion. But getting to the business aspect of it, getting to the consumer, we just spent the first hour of the show, Webb, regarding how Sony does not look out for the best interest of their customer. This is an opportunity that Microsoft has that are going to be adding the most inherent value in gaming, knowing that it passed from the board at 98%, knowing that there's a good shot that it's going to get done from the FTC potentially later this year. How does that make you feel, brother, as an Xbox-centric fan?
It makes me excited. I mean, to me, this is it's really a done deal. This is all just things that have to go through to get it done, and it's a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff like that that's out there. But I don't see this. There's nothing they can do to stop it. A lot of Sony fans shouldn't. I mean, I'm a Sony fan. I've got a PlayStation 5. I've always played their games, but they've not always maybe had a fair playing field, and I think now that the field is getting more balanced and in Microsoft's favor, that a lot, Sony is definitely Sony fanboys are definitely super upset about it. And they throw in their tantrums. They don't like it. And yes, he is a journalist and a writer. But it definitely seems to be, leaning one way or the other. His article was meant to fire up the troops, both sides, piss people off and to get people excited. And that's exactly what that's what his opinion matter. And again, it is his opinion and his reputation that'll be on the line once the deal is through. So, and it'll just be another notch in the belt of the people that are saying, I told you so. And that's what he's going to have to live with, whether his articles are good or bad. I don't read his stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the 98%.
Exactly. I don't read his stuff. His opinion doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that we're going to get great games, day and date in Game Pass, and that is an amazing deal that everybody is going to get to enjoy. And I think that's the biggest thing and the biggest excitement for me. Man, we got so many super chats.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely appreciate that. Raiden Blade drops a £2 super chat and says, Boom's TTs about the biggest rat bag in gaming. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, brother. Andy Hart, got to thank you for the outstanding support. He drops multiple super chats and he's become a channel member. So thank you, Andy, for that. Definitely appreciate it. He drops $2 super chat, says massive buys bring massive scrutiny. Yeah, indeed, that's true. And last one, £5 super chat says, does the panel believe Scorn will come out this year? Also, how excited Boom and panel for Dead Space remake, one of the scariest and best games ever. Yeah, I can't wait for that. And Scorn is October.
I heard two things about Scorn. The reason why it's taken so long. One thing that I could share with you was they had to fix up a whole bunch of things. A lot of testing. People didn't like the pacing of the game. So if you saw the trailers and you didn't like the pacing of the game, the pacing will be fixed.
Nice. Thank you. Well, thank you for the update, King. Definitely appreciate that. But listen, folks, that's your show for Friday. And hopefully you enjoyed it. Had a lot of laughs like we all did. I guess gut-busting laughs, if you will. Hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay. Got to thank everyone that came in and came out. Obviously, big shout-out to BitCloud. Check out what he's going to be doing on Monday. I'll let him announce that. It's massive. It's crazy. It's monstrous. Of course, big shout out to Mr. Badbit, voice of the trophy room. Definitely if you like PlayStation and you want a very fair-minded and fun PlayStation-centric channel, definitely check out both BitCloud Gaming's on YouTube as well as the Trophy Room on not only on YouTube but all your favorite RSS feeds. But let's get to the outros, and we'll start first with Lord King David. The Notre Dame David, I should say. Listen, brother, thank you for swinging through. You were great as always. You guys, I have a big show this upcoming Sunday. And talk about lordsofgaming.net, talk about the King of Statues, but more importantly, talk about ILP.
Well, Iron Lords Podcast is where I'm predominantly at. You'll see me Sundays at 1 p.m. KOS is the king of the statues. So if you're looking around and you're saying, man, what are those wild looking statues that he has there? KOS Live is coming back very soon, but I do have a special treat for everybody. If you tuned into my last fight, Combat Talk with the King, it's coming back again this Saturday, which will be every Saturdays at 10 p.m. where if you're up, you're chilling, you're having your little drinks, you're watching a fight, or you're having a little fight party by yourself, you can tune in and hang out with me because I'll be watching the fights and I'll be talking about the fights. And this weekend we have Valdez versus Stevenson. It's going to be an incredible fight. So we're going to start at 10 p.m. We're going to go a little bit into the undercard that will be there. Usually is the one fight or two fights right before the main event. So not, the whole card, but we're going to sit there, talk about it, have fun, get a little drink on, and, just shoot the breeze. So it's a couple of guys and girls hanging out and just having a good time. So that's Combat Talk with the King tomorrow at 10 p.m. That's Saturday, every Saturday coming to you. And Iron Lords Podcast at 1 p.m. every Sunday. Lordsofgaming.net is the website where you can get all up to the minute packs information. Listen, guys, there are at least 50 to 60 videos, interviews, gameplay, and just different write-ups about all the games that are there. One of the games that I would encourage you to go check out and know about is called Cult of the Lamb. One of our star writers, Gene, wrote an article about it. He did the interview. It's a fantastic take on it. Sovereign did a separate interview on it as well. So you have the video, you have the written, you have everything that you need to do. It's from Devolver Digital. Go check that out. If you haven't heard about it, it's one of my games of the show. So please, PAX East 2022, we were back in full effect. Go check that out. The Lords was on site as media, and we tackled that show with the best of them. Please go check it out. That's at lordofgaming.net. Thank you, Boom.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, brother.
3 million views.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I'm it's still a little numb. It's quite shocking, to be honest with you, but I definitely appreciate it. Appreciate the congratulations, but more so that you're here to hang out with us. Dreadpool, let's get you on out here, brother. Sell your brand. Tell them about Breaking Bread with Dread, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, thank you to both Bits, Bad Bit and Bit Cloud, for showing up. Thank you, King, for stopping in here and hanging out and giving us some good laughs and some facts and some knee chopping. Also, Crispy, we miss you. I don't know what this John dude here. No, I'm kidding. John, welcome to being Crispy's replacement. I know Crispy's listening, so hopefully he didn't cut anything that he wasn't supposed to cut. Laughing.
There you go.
So, as always, Web Dave and Fuzzy, it's great hanging out with you guys. Did you guys know that Web Dave interviewed almost everybody here?
Everybody over here so far, yeah.
Almost everybody. So you should check that out. But thank you, Boom. I mean, this has been a great show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yet again, we got to thank the chat. The chat was awesome. There was
almost 500 people here today, man.
Yeah, but there were a couple little edges that were almost ruffled, but everybody kept calm. Everybody, was pretty good. So, proud of you guys. We're a good community, and we need to keep on bringing people in and keeping them feel invited. Let's entertain and interact with each other properly, and make sure that we have varying opinions out there. We got to do that. So, back to me. I did release a small little 5-minute video for Breaking Bread with Dread, and it was just a small one. We ended up breaking bread after the video, so it was more of a show and tell, I guess you would say. But check that out, please. Wasn't much. It wasn't the normal, but it was something different, and it's the direction I'm trying to go into is personalities. It's just not a YouTube gamer thing. I want personalities. I want to expand and get you guys to expand your world too, just as well as I do with mine. But every Wednesday night, and we are coming back this coming week. Wilmie's feeling so much better. Gaming Beyond the Box at 8 p.m.
Yep.
So we'll have the crew there, and Centurion will be our newest panel member. So this will be his first night. Linktree's got all my links to everything for YouTube, Twitter, even TikTok, and Hover, however you say that one. Hover GG. So back on to Breaking Bread with Dread. You can find it on all podcast stations. So again, thank you guys for the opportunity to speak with you and hang out.
Yeah, well, you're great to have you each and every week. Fuzzy Belvedere, sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can strike up a conversation on social media. But more importantly, check out your very centric racing YouTube channel, which if you want racing info, you don't go anywhere but Fuzzy Belvedere on YouTube.
Thank you, Boom. And man, this was an awesome show. Thank you so much for having me on here. I want to thank the chat and everyone that watched this and all those that may catch this later on. Thank you, King David, for stopping by. And thanks to Big Cloud and Mr. Badbit for also joining us earlier on. Man, I love being on here, and I love talking about games and things. And for anybody that wants to continue conversations about gaming, whether it be racing related or first person shooters, what have you, you can always find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, YouTube Fuzzy_Belvedere. Also on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern time on FSP podcast, Fun Speculations podcast, on Mav's channel, Fun Speculation channel, and on Saturdays as well on PTK Blam's channel for the Shop podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And then back here on Friday mornings, back with this awesome panel for Breakfast with Boom. Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. And John Wolf, the newest panel member, brother. Thanks so much for your insight. Looking forward to chatting with you each and every Friday morning, brother. Thanks again. Please sell your brand. Tell everyone where they can check you out on YouTube. And more importantly, check you out and potentially strike up a conversation on social media.
Absolutely, Boom. First and foremost, thank you again for inviting me to be part of the panel. I've enjoyed speaking to everyone here today. I think everybody brought awesome opinions and thoughts, and really adding to this conversation that I think us as gamers love to have. We before I had a platform to come on and express how how I felt and how I saw this industry going, I would just put out some random tweets and talk to my wife about it. So thank you for the platform, Boom. I really appreciate it. Everyone hit me up, John Wolf, exactly how it shows on the screen on PlayStation, Xbox, on YouTube. I have my own channel where I'm doing weekly interviews. I had King on there once. It was a blast, man. I'm looking forward to inviting each and every one of you. And yeah, man, just talking games and having fun, guys. At the end of the day, I think that we need to remember that the most important thing is that sometimes we can take this very serious and it's supposed to be fun, guys. I think that's the moral of the story, and love having these types of conversations. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. I hope everybody has a nice weekend with their families, with their friends, and just please everyone be safe. Take care.
Thanks so much. And last and no way least, Web Dave, first of all, your Randall Thor interview was phenomenal. We learned a lot about the man with a million, which again he doesn't really get into, and I definitely appreciate what Rand brings to the community, because he doesn't really talk about himself. He talks about games, and to hear him open up the way he did was fantastic. But it's not just him. You've interviewed a ton of people, so by all means, sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can check out this interview and many more on your website as well as YouTube channel.
Well, thank you very much, Boom. And first, I got to say, Lord King David, oh my gosh, you're so awesome, dude.
Thank you, brother.
And I mean that from the heart, man. I love your content, everything you put out, and I am going to hit you up again for an interview.
I know. Listen,
we need to make it happen.
I already saw.
Oh yeah. Well, I was texting during the show. I'll admit it. And John,
great.
you're on there too, buddy. Don't you worry. I'm gonna reach out to you. We'll get this happening.
Yeah, so me and John got busy too. Pause.
There you go. Don't block me, please. So outbreakpodcast.com is my website, and then of course Boom is really nice enough to put everybody's descriptions and everything. Links are in the show notes.
Everything's in there.
So just click on it. Easy to find. Randall Thor 19 was the one that dropped this week. Huge interview. Super nice. And next week's coming on Monday, Dealer for Dealer Gaming.
Nice, dude. That's
Nice.
big.
All I can say is I did the interview and I've listened to it 10 times already because
Good for
he's
you,
so
brother. Yeah, we
damn
love
funny.
Dealer. Dealer's
Is
a
his
good
face
dude.
out? Did you get his face?
No.
I did not. But this is definitely an explicit episode. I'm giving you a warning. But that's
Dealer
okay.
is
We
like a
had fun.
luchador. He'll never take that mask off unless
I'm-
we tie him down.
I'm still trying to get Dealer to do a Breaking Bread. I'm like, it still
I'm
won't be on
unmask him.
video.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna unmask
so,
him.
We're gonna
you
mask
can
him,
do it.
and trust me, it's not gonna be Donnie D. Trust me when I tell you.
There you go. And then after that,
No,
I
that's
got N64 Josh
That would be hilarious.
is in the can already, so he'll be coming up, and hopefully I'll get these two wonderful guys. Again, thank you for the panel. Thank you for everybody being here today. Oh my God, this is the greatest show. I love it.
All right, well, we love having you, brother. It's great to
Thanks,
have you
sir.
on. And real quick, Andy Hart drops an additional £2 super chat and says, "Awesome show, Boom!" And thanks to you and all of the panel. Well, thank you, brother. And one quick real thing, folks, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you this on the way out. Smokey, good friend of the program, he has just confirmed that Bug Snacks Game of the Year 2022 just dropped into Xbox Game Pass. So get over there and go play your sausage fingers, or go play with your sausage fingers. There you go.
Yummy, yummy.
Who's next?
Anyway, everyone, have a great weekend. We love you all. Thank you for making Double Barrel Gaming as successful as it's been. And we will see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom. Take care, everyone.